You're up and it's still dark. Kick back with a cup of Joe. You know you've got friends waiting on 1620 The Zone. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Connor and Mike. Listen on the radio stream or YouTube or podcasts. Anytime it feels right. It's Happer and Schaefer.
All right, good morning and welcome in. Happy Tuesday. It's Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer and Mike S. But which Mike S? The big reveal. Joey, all right, go ahead. Let him in.
Whoa! Yep, sorry to disappoint.
It's 1620 The Zone defender, Michael Snow.
Yeehaw! I'm on that front line.
Thank you, Michael. Your hard work is appreciated.
I spent all week yelling at people who don't exist.
I know.
It's horrible.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you got in on that action. You didn't have to get in on any of it. You could have just been like, all right, this is happening.
Yeah, I could have, and I should have.
Yeah.
He wants to be the number one Mike S. villain for the Happer and Schaefer show. He wants more
that's what
appearances.
everybody said. Like, these guys are your friends. And I'm like, well, I've met Josh maybe 4 times. I've never met John, and Connor, I'm the only co-host who didn't get invited to his wedding. So, so really, I'm not. And I like Schaefer, so I'm not really friends with any of them.
Yeah, no, it's just random. You probably know other people in the media just exactly as well.
The exact amount. I know them the exact same. Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, I learned a lesson that I've learned 100 times before, but.
Well, I always say, when people like are really, really proud of their barbecue that they've done or whatever, I say, don't tweet your meat, right? Because it doesn't matter.
No.
Like it could be the best thing ever, and somebody will have a critique about it. They will have a complaint about it. It's really the same. This is the same situation here.
When you have a break containment from like your bubble, it's not fun.
No.
Even if you know you're right, it's not fun.
Every single time.
Yep.
It's automatic. So this is Michael Snow, everybody. He is the co-host of the day today, the Mike S of the day, if you will. Real Mike S. Mike Schaefer will be back tomorrow. And I didn't even make contact with any of the other Mike S's.
Don't worry, Schaefer. I did not cross out your name on the video stream.
That's right.
I
Schaefer,
did not cancel you.
We got a text from yesterday when Joey was like, I think I want to cross out Schaefer's name
and put my name instead, or whoever's the guest host.
And Schaefer was like, wow, I'm gone one day and you're going to cross out my name.
Yeah, you've been replaced for at least 48 hours.
He's listening.
I was listening yesterday when you were saying the Mike S's, and I'm like, how many Mike S's could there be? And then I'm like,
there's 3 others.
Severe, Sauter, and who's the other?
Stibbs.
Oh, yeah, and Stibbs.
He hasn't
There's so many of us.
There probably is more, to be honest with you.
And 3 of them are Mike. They're all Mike S.
Mike S, yeah.
There's not just MS. It's literally all Mike S.
Mike S.
That's the whole bit.
That's too much.
Now, I would not call Michael Mike.
You would not call
Michael Severe.
Well, yeah.
Now, I also call you Michael.
I go by Michael, and it doesn't Sauter go by. Is he Mike Sauter or does he
Mike Sauter?
Okay,
Mike Sauter, and
Stibbs
then
is just Stibbs mainly.
Yeah, nobody calls Mike Stibbs Mike.
Yeah,
or Michael Stibbs, but occasionally, depending on who you find. Yeah, Jeffrey says on YouTube, Michael Snow sounds like a stage name.
Yeah, the last name Snow kind of plays as like a.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's not though. That's his real name.
That is my. Yeah. Can you imagine?
It's
going
an unusual.
1620 The Zone and saying I don't want to use my real name.
Well,
here's my stage name.
You might need one.
Yeah, for last week.
I need one. All right. Here is the show today. We are glad to have our dear Mike S here. Michael Snow. Mitch Sherman will join. Jacob Padilla will join. That's a little bit later on. Mitch at 8:30. Jacob at 9:15. We'll talk some basketball and football. We'll talk about some. Not necessarily. We don't have a court case. We have an arbitration case, I suppose, that we have to like at least tell people what is going on in. So we could try to supply you with the information that you need on that one. We want to hear from you all. 402-951-1620. on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. You could call or text that number. Tweet at us at @HappenSchafe, at Connor Happer, at Mikers Now, Mike R. Snow on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. So you can find us there. Email Connor at 1620thezone.com, Joey at 1620thezone.com, and that's it. If you want to talk to Michael on email, then just email me, Connor at 1620thezone.com. We're not giving out Michael's email. Yeah, no, this is not going to give. You got to have an email go out. And you can let's see, email, call, text, tweet, and leave a comment on the YouTube. Yeah. Hi, Kevin. Hi, Jeffrey. Hi, Debo. Hi, everybody. How are we doing today? We are back and rolling on a Tuesday. Elsewhere, coming up today on the show, a new and cool way to RPI massage that we found last night in college baseball. Very, very cool. That Boston College is innovating in this category. Nebraska softball season ticket holders kind of get the opportunity to get tickets. I'm so curious to get Snow's thoughts on all of these things, at least considering, we get his takes on some things, but we haven't talked to you in 2 months. 2 months ago, last time you were here, Nebraska basketball had not yet won an NCAA tournament game, and now they've won 2.
Yeah, my whole life is different.
And
now.
they almost won 3.
Yeah, they certainly did. That was tough.
Last time you were here, you were scared out of your little mind. You were like, oh my God.
You were thinking the worst of the worst.
And I don't think any of that was incorrect. I should have been scared.
No, I think you absolutely approached it correctly.
Yeah. After the loss, I sat down and didn't cry, but sat there, and my wife was like, we have children. Come on, man.
You are an adult.
Let's go. We got to do things now. You had the 2 hours.
Yeah, your basketball game is over. Now we have to go to the zoo.
You don't understand.
It doesn't. Yeah, that people.
It just being over that quick. Nobody understands it until you're in it.
Yeah, you got to.
So literally everybody else understood it before, but I still didn't.
Yeah. What was the first win like for you? I mean, it was such a blowout.
It was. Yeah. I started victory lapping halfway through the first half, and it was still relatively close, but you could tell.
How nervous were you in the first 6 minutes?
The most nervous I've ever been. I have 3 children. I've been married. I still am married. I was more nervous for that than any of those things.
They were just making everything.
Yeah. And it was in my head. It's here's what was it? Jack Golke, who did it for whomever a year. I'm like, here's Jack Golke. There's going to be the one white guy who can't miss a 3 against Nebraska.
Incredible.
And then it didn't happen, and Nebraska beat him by 70.
Not at all.
But everybody was like, Troy's the sneaky pick, and they never were. They were never sneaky. It was never a scary team.
It's easy to say that now.
Transporting back to where I was halfway through that.
They were a scary football team a few years prior.
That is true. Now, rational people saw the first 6 minutes of the game when they made every shot, and they were like, "Okay, they're not competing today. It's not.
Right, buckle up.
This is not happening." No, Joey. I was just sitting there like, "No, there's no way Troy's winning this game. Nebraska's going to win by 20 at the very least." And meanwhile, just a little bit more sweat for Nebraska basketball fans. And then they won the next game, and then they almost won the next game, but unfortunately, they had 4 people on the court.
Yeah, see, and this is I know what you're doing.
I just, it's worth remembering.
So is it worth remembering, or can we just remember the great season that was?
No, it was great.
Nice T-shirt, dude.
Thank you. Great baseball.
I could imagine what's worse: the 4 players on the court or the foul that is not supposed to be a foul.
Here's the thing,
the foul is worse. It has to be.
I don't care about the 4 players. They were going to lose.
I think so. It is quite the exclamation point.
And I'm glad he's gone now. Alvano being the guy to capitalize. I don't know why. I just looked at that guy.
The Fulgaris guy. Yeah.
Hateable face. Yeah. Very, very hateable.
And of course he was the guy who dunked it.
Yeah. And now he's gone, which is fun.
He went to Louisville to be with Pat Kelsey, where he belongs, which is
everyone went to Louisville.
Exactly, which is exciting because now I get to watch them fail miserably this year.
Mm-hmm. That was my that's the recap of 2 months ago for me.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder what's happened since. We could discuss that today during the show. Great Nebraska baseball go for one final time, maybe this evening. I mean, we could leave out the potential that they play each other in a regional. At that point, I'd be curious to know what Michael's feelings would be like. What Nebraska fans' feelings would be like in general.
It's different. Well, I mean, this year it's a little bit different because Nebraska hasn't done their like normal midweek thing to the same degree they've done it.
No, I mean
they've
beaten Creighton both times.
Years and I mean, yeah.
I don't think it's fair to either team for them to be in the same regional.
It would be fun,
and it would be a 1-4, so it would be like the opener, and like the opener, like I mean, Creighton is clearly capable of beating Nebraska.
It's baseball,
and it's baseball, but they're not like this is not NJIT, you know.
Yeah.
Like they're better than that.
I would rather not play Creighton as a 4.
I think so too, and I would rather not play Nebraska. Especially in that ballpark, like, and I would rather them go on the road.
I also don't
like.
Else. I think the ship it hasn't sailed, but it's close to being sailed for Nebraska hosting right now. There's a little bit of a run that needs to be made in the Big Ten tournament, which is possible.
Maybe they will do that. So we could discuss that throughout the show today. According to the LA Times, USC and Notre Dame is back on the table, and there's a topic inside of it because I saw a tweet from our dear friend Scott Wolf, who hates USC but covers USC yesterday, and he said that the donors asking for it back and holding them hostage sort of played a big role in that. So I think that's an interesting topic and worth a discussion. I have Joey. So the schedules are kind of starting to leak out. Teams are getting themselves prepared. Did you see what the Chiefs did last night?
I saw the rundown, so I took a look, and it looks pretty odd to me.
Did you see what the Chiefs did yesterday?
I know what you're talking about, but I put no effort into looking at it because it immediately upset me.
It's a unique way of announcing your opponents.
Oh, unique is right.
Yeah, I was going to say a stupid way.
Presenting our 2026 opponents as sourdough, a bread thread, if you will. And then they just copied and pasted images of various foods that represent the cities of the teams that they're playing on top of pictures of sourdough bread. And I became very confused.
I got to look at their list of opponents to see what unique teams would.
My only question is why? Like, is Kansas City a sourdough hotbed?
I don't know. It could be like a Taylor Swift reference. Like I think she likes.
Does she do sourdough?
I think so.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I know that.
Yeah. You're not up on your Taylor Swift lore.
Apparently, I am up on my Taylor Swift lore, and she likes to make sourdough. And
do you think she's ever made sourdough bread in her life, or is this something that a celebrity says to like try and be relatable?
Fair, but I actually believe it with her. Yeah, she has a cat. You know, she really likes.
Do you think she takes care of the cat, or do you think this is something a celebrity says to be relatable?
I can really see
she's
her.
Never home. She's a horrible cat owner.
I can really see her like wearing, baggy clothes on a rainy day with like
because she sings sad music,
petting her cat on the couch.
She's a billionaire who's going to marry another multi-millionaire.
Yeah, just because she's a billionaire doesn't mean she's busy all the time.
Yes, it does.
No,
she's quite literally. She's not touring.
She can hang out.
I don't know if she's ever hung out.
She has a cat.
When you're a certain level of famous, you can't hang out.
Nobody's taking care of the cat besides
she's
Taylor
paying
Swift.
Somebody an obscene amount of money to take care of.
And she's making. I think she's making sourdough. Yeah, I believe her.
I think sourdough takes like a long time to make.
I'm gonna see some quotes about it. Let's see. Taylor Swift sourdough. Let's see.
That'd be a good question for Drake May's wife.
She's making stuff on TikTok.
Yeah, but
she's not as rich. She's not busy.
Swift.
She's not busy. Let's see. So there's a bunch of Taylor Swift sourdough bread like recipes.
No.
I just want her okay, Instagram. Taylor Swift is in her sourdough era. And we've got all the recipes.
I have an opinion too. We need to stop saying somebody's in an era when they have a hobby they do once every 6 months.
She made eras. She went on the Eras tour.
I am aware of that. Yeah, she's in her era.
Taylor Swift confesses sourdough hobby has taken over my life on Travis Kelce's
podcast.
Okay, I gotta see the quotes on this.
Sourdough has taken over her life.
On the latest episode of New Heights, the podcast co-hosted by Travis and Jason Kelsey, the 14-time Grammy Award winner, not only gave her first ever podcast interview, but also, so this is back in...
This is when they had like announced their date.
Yeah, must have been like a year ago or something like that. Let's see. She... You're gonna love this.
Yeah.
Following... Why are these websites so bad? She makes sourdough bread. Following her wildly successful tour that lasted 21 months and included 149 shows, each one lasting over 3 hours, Swift tells the Kelsey brothers that she finally has time to return to some of her hobbies. Travis notes that it's been fun to see what Taylor actually gets into around the house. According to the pop superstar, all of her at-home interests could be categorized as hobbies you could have had in the 1700s.
Oh my
You
God.
know, I get on my granny bleep, she said. In addition to sewing, Swift says her two specialties in this area are children's purses and baby blankets.
They're not.
The 35-year-old artist says she likes to paint, cook, and bake. When it comes to the latter, she explains that she's developed a new passion for baking a specific item roughly every 6 months. And right now, we're very deep in a sourdough obsession that has, quote, taken over my life. So you don't believe her? She makes blueberry lemon, cinnamon swirl, cinnamon raisin, and one that she's making for Jason Kelsey's daughters because they love everything rainbow. Funfetti sourdough because they love sprinkles. But you know, we put sprinkles in everything when we hang out. That's what she said.
Wow. Yeah. I'm so glad she has time to do things from the 1700s, like sew and make sourdough
Hey,
bread.
it's better than polluting the air with all that jet traveling.
That is true. That's the other complaint about her. She's traveling the world and therefore she's poisoning the environment.
Here's the thing. I don't care about that because if I was that rich, I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
I would never go in an airport again unless it's a private airport.
I'd be making sourdough bread on the plane.
Well, yeah, that's the only time she has time.
Probably
because of her 21-month tour of 3-hour shows. Really tough. Yeah, I don't buy it.
Okay.
I'm out on I'm out on sourdough.
That's good. SEC fans handshake meme with Big Ten fans on hating Big Noon kickoff.
We did get some Big Noon times.
We did. I want to ask a question about Big Noon kickoff and like really ask what it's there for and why we're doing it anymore. But we'll do that a little bit later on in the show. And I saved this one for Snow because Tom Fornelli did a tweet last week of a Nebraska football helmet, and it said, "What's the first thing you think of?" And predictably, the responses to it were just tremendous. And we're gonna go through some of those today and maybe ask what you think of outside of like football helmet.
Yeah,
which is what I think of.
Yeah, that's. I could think of other things if I had to, but the first thing is definitely football helmet.
It's like, look at that football helmet.
But that's like
nice football helmet.
So we're at that. So my question coming in was going to be like, because we obviously had the show and we like had like segments of the off season
calendar,
like,
baby.
What segment are we in? List season, schedule season?
I think it's
kickoff time season.
We are in pre like after schedules because we know who's on the schedule, but like we are in pre-kickoff time. Okay. Kickoff times like I think the TV draft is happening over emails over the next like 2 weeks.
That's exciting stuff.
And then Memorial Day will happen, and then you'll have a lot of the
and then
it'll be lists.
You'll get
then we'll have the list.
I think it'll be lists after that.
Yeah. Calandria will be on a list somewhere, and that'll be at least 20 minutes of talking.
Absolutely. I think there's probably going to be a wide receiver maybe that pops up on a list this year.
That's exciting. Yeah.
Maybe
we could be pre-list season over under amount of Nebraska players on a list.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Now there are some new awards that that are just brand new to the lexicon. So we'd have to do a complete collection of all of the awards.
That's tough.
And find out
too many awards.
There are a lot of awards now. There's almost, it feels like there's too many. Okay. That's the setup for the show today. We are pleased that you've decided to join us once again. We have Nebraska and Creighton baseball for the final time, maybe this evening. First pitch is at 6:00. We'll join me and John right at the end of Unsportsmanlike Conduct. We'll do the same thing last time these two teams played, where we'll do like an interview with Coach Kingston, and then it'll be time to throw first pitch. So they'll be done at like 5:50, and we will go from there. But that is in 12 hours from now. We have 12 hours of sports talk. Until then, I'm Connor Happer, Michael Snow, Joey Colbert. We're back after this on 1620 The Zone. Bananas and Bangers. That's right. It is coming to Memorial Stadium and elsewhere. If you let us know what your walk-up song is, you could win a 4-pack of sweet tickets to see the Savannah Bananas play at Memorial Stadium June 13th, $200, and a free duct cleaning from McCarthy's 1 Hour Heating and Air. You can enter online at 1620thezone.com, and that's where you enter what your batting song is, your walk-up song. Maybe it's the Rooster.
There will be a post later on. I got the updated list. There will be 2 more fill-ins for spots. I think this is the last week of the contest, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But one of the songs added in, Good Old Renegade by Styx. Your Pittsburgh Steelers,
great.
which they are going to get their NFL schedule revealed this week.
That
Wow,
is true.
that's exciting.
They are in the NFL, Joey. Yes.
Yes, they are.
Indeed.
What else?
You know
there's
he's
also-
gonna die.
There's also Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes and
Sure.
Friends and Low Places by Garth Brooks.
That's a good one. I don't know about a walk-up song, but it's a good song.
That was the selection on our killer playlist.
Anyway, that's powered by McCarthy's 1 Hour Heating and Air. They used to play that song at Royals games, and then they decided that they were too good for it.
Which song?
Friends in Low Places.
Oh, yeah.
They were like, we don't do this anymore because we're too good now.
They are good now.
This was like 12 years ago.
Well, when they were just getting good.
They were just getting good, and then they became really, really bad again. And then they became okay.
Now they have the best player in baseball.
They are in the AL Central, which is advantageous.
Yeah, being in the NL Central is not advantageous.
Well,
currently.
I mean, it is when you're at the very, very top and you're, clear of. I mean, the Cubs got to be clear of everybody by a few games, right?
2.5 maybe, 2.5. Yeah, that sounds right. 2.5 or 3.
Let's see.
Everybody in the Central is good.
3.5. 27 and 14.
And
if you were 27 and 14 in the American League Central,
Mhm.
you'd be like 8 games up.
Yep. It is what it is.
It is what it is. You guys should join the AL Central. It's a
I
lot
would
of fun.
love to join the AL Central.
What a
They
great
would never
division.
lose.
The thing about the AL Central, it's like the Big Ten West. Like you got to play a certain style. You got to be really in it.
So because I'm a Cubs fan, like White Sox Twitter like creeps into my feed often, and White Sox fans are very confident that they are going to compete in the AL Central this year.
Sure, they absolutely could. I mean, it's the AL Central.
Essentially like a race to 500, and then anything above that, you've got a pretty decent shot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like that's kind of the idea. You get to 500 by September 1st.
Yep.
And then if you're there, you're officially in it. And if you're not, then you're probably done. But
the Royals reeled off like a good 2 weeks, didn't they?
Yeah, they came back. It was a bad April yet again, as tradition would hold, terrible in April. And then all of a sudden, they start to sort of figure it out. So that's the stage that we're in right now. They are in 4th place, but they are only
Salvi still need a rest.
Salvi needs to
stop playing catcher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The problem is you have a first baseman who can't play anywhere else either, as most first basemen can't.
Yeah, and you have a right fielder who really should be playing first base.
Yes.
And you have a backup catcher who's a really good hitter who can't really catch.
Yeah. But he's fun, and you can't DH everyone.
I know. They have like 4 DHs.
Yeah, that's tough. It's a tough spot to be in as a team.
One of them is not really Salvador Perez, even though he's the core of their team.
Yeah, it's kind of it's sad to see.
It is
the decline. It's like your dog getting really old. It's tough to watch.
Yeah. He just had his 34th birthday, I think. 36th.
He seems like he's 47.
He does. Well, I mean, yeah, he's been the one remaining person from the Royals championship team for like the last 6 years now. He is 36. He just turned 36. Happy birthday, Salvi, as I would always say. All right. Text from the 515. I don't understand what the deal is with the Playfly arbitration case. I still don't understand how it's not fraudulent for an oil billionaire to underwrite Texas Tech's NIL operation, but it is fraudulent for normal people to each give $100 to a collective, which will underwrite Nebraska's. I wish somebody could explain the difference. Okay, so let's try and explain the difference. Yesterday, in case you were unaware, the independent arbitrator ruled against the 18 Nebraska players who were trying to get their NIL cash, their NIL payments funneled through the multimedia rights holder at Nebraska, which is called Play Fly. Okay, so the CSC, the College Sports Commission, is the governing body, quote unquote, not exactly a governing body, but it basically polices these NIL deals. Remember, they're the ones that put into play the, if it's under X amount of dollars, then fine, it's free and clear. If it's over X amount of dollars, then you have to pass it through this clearinghouse. That number, by the way, used to be $600. Now it's more. It's like $2,000 or $2,500 or something like that, which makes a lot of sense. So effectively, what Nebraska players were trying to do were just make it easier to get the money that they signed NIL contracts to get. They were trying to get it, and without knowing the exact details of each of the players, I would imagine that the goal here was to try and get the NIL payments without actually providing the good or service on the other side. Remember, NIL is name, image, and likeness. And if you get paid to do something, you can get paid to do something, but you actually have to do something. That was sort of the initial idea. That is not necessarily worked out that way. And so the difference with Playfly is that they are affiliated, they are connected and tied to the University of Nebraska. And so that is viewed as they called it an affiliated entity or whatever it is. And ultimately that is the rub here. And that's what makes it different from Cody Campbell, the oil billionaire, just funneling money into his program, because he can say he has plausible deniability. He's an oil tycoon. He has a million different companies underneath him. He could say, oh yeah, well, that guy works for that guy works for this car dealership, or he's doing ads for this and he's doing ads for this. And there's that. If Nebraska says that with Playfly, technically they're working for Nebraska, which is not legal at the moment over the cap. It is legal in rev sharing, but that's the under the cap, over the cap situation. So hopefully that explains that piece of it. And ultimately that is hopefully a decent description of the situation here. So this is from Ross Dellinger. He tries to explain this a little bit. I understand it can be a bit confusing, and I'm sure people will listen to this and glossing over right now, like maybe even the two people in this room. Let's explain exactly what happened in the most simple terms. A group of 18 Nebraska football players having $1 million+ of NIL deals rejected by the commission challenged the move in arbitration, and then they lost as of yesterday. By the way, it may have been more than $1 million. The neutral arbitrator declared a resounding victory for the College Sports Commission, the CSC. One person who's seen the full arbitration ruling described it as, quote, a beatdown. The arbitrator ruled that the CSC was in the right in rejecting these deals as they violate the terms of the settlement, which, while granting schools the right to pay players in a cap system, made it more difficult for the athletes to earn third-party NIL compensation. All such NIL deals, like those submitted by the Nebraska players, are required to be approved by the CSC, which is charged with determining if the deals are legitimate. Like I said, to go all the way back to the beginning, some of this is just the ease of in which they are getting paid. They were trying to make that process a little bit easier. It's like, I don't know what the right analogy would be. Like setting up direct deposit maybe, or something like that. They were trying to make it so there was less hoops to jump through. And if they would have won, it would have destabilized a lot in college football. It would have taken all of the current, while arbitrary, it would have taken the guardrails out of all of it, which I think ultimately it's a good thing for the sport. And I do believe the Nebraska players will get paid. It will just be harder to do so.
Yeah, there are very few guardrails in place right now.
Yeah.
And this would have essentially eliminated what few ones are left. And it pretty much just said, all right, there's some level of agreement. You can go be paid now without giving a good
they just
or a
have
service.
to rework the deals.
Yes.
To the individual deals that these players are trying to get their money from, they just have to rework them so that they can go back to the CSC and say, because that is what the arbitrator said at the end. They said, okay, blank slate, you lost. what you're going for here is not going to work. But clean slate, go back, rework these deals, tell me why you earn this money, and then the CSC will put it through their process like they do with every single other deal, and it can work that way. Like no harm, no foul. Here,
Well,
basically.
it being a resounding no, it clearly like wasn't close to like it was essentially like, come on, guys, like we know this isn't going to work. You could try, but the resounding no and immediate no makes it seem like this was more on the players, kind of just saying, hey, we want this money, give us this money.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, you haven't done anything for this money.
There are going to be more cases that are exactly like this. And like the CSC, there's a conflict. The CSC, while it can by its rules restrict the type, how players are getting their NIL money by rule. We kind of saw that just then. The state has a rule and a regulation, a law that they cannot be limited in really any sort of. So those two will go against each other, and who wins when we ultimately get to that, I don't know. But there are two, as Dellinger writes, there are two underlying issues going on right now across the landscape. Number one, schools are operating in a market that they themselves inflated last spring by front-loading compensation to athletes before the CSC got cranked up last July. Number two, schools this January and April made guarantees of third-party NIL compensation to athletes despite those guarantees not meeting CSC thresholds. Big Ten and SEC schools, because of their big budgets and array of corporate sponsors, are the most guilty parties. In fact, at some point earlier this spring, SEC and Big Ten schools combined to have submitted to the CSC more than 6 times the amount of NIL deals from that of ACC and Big 12 schools. The goal of these third-party deals is simple: exceed the revenue share cap in a hotly competitive recruiting environment where football players are routinely climbing over $30 million rosters, and men's basketball rosters over $15 million, all while the school cap this coming year is $21.3 million for all of the athletic department. That would be the revenue sharing money that obviously Nebraska is going to distribute. Many school administrators and university partners, sponsors, boosters, etc., have poured endless hours and resources into learning how to crack the code, so to speak, how to arrange third-party deals so that they'll slip through the system. In essence, that's what this was. And it would have been, as far as working with Playfly, the multimedia rights holder at Nebraska, it would have been, like I said, a very, very destabilizing case in college football. Not that it won't happen eventually at some point, but ultimately, like I said, I think it's good for the sport that it's not happening now. I don't think there's any penalties as a result. There won't be any penalties as a result of this. There's no, loss of eligibility. It's just like,
well, nothing was done wrong.
Yeah, it's just you are trying to make it easier to get the money that outside boosters are donating to the program that is specifically earmarked for NIL. And now like I said, now you just have to do probably a little bit more show and tell than you ultimately wanted to. We are not, I don't know, like this is a big deal in the sense of it sets precedent for things going forward, but it's not that big of a deal in the sense of what is actually trying to be done here. Like Nebraska is just Nebraska players, those 18 Nebraska players were just trying to get paid easier.
Yeah, and I think probably what happened is they were told, hey, we're going to find this amount of money for you. It's like a templated contract almost, enter company name here, you'll be paid, enter dollar amount here. And then, the payments didn't go through because the appearances or whatever the obligations didn't happen. And, technically on paper, there is an agreement for the money.
Correct. NIL is still NIL.
Yes.
Like it seems like it's just bags of money being handed over to the student athletes.
There are very few rules with it, but there still
Yeah.
are some rules with it. Now, the overarching theme here is Nebraska just needs to find an oil billionaire to come in and with a million companies and say, this guy works at my car dealership. Here's $250,000.
People will tell you that
$1
there is a guy who lives up the street from where we're at right now who has a lot of companies.
Yes.
He has a lot of companies.
But I think he got that wealthy by not needlessly spending money, unfortunately.
That is the rub.
Yeah.
Follow-up text from the 515. I understand the play fight thing. The CSC is supposedly evaluating the fair market value of the NIL agreement, which means said billionaire is supposedly getting $5 million of fair market business value from his NIL deal with Sorsby. Really? That's okay, but a collective of schmucks like me has been described as fraudulent. That is complete hypocritical BS. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
Like, is Brandon Sorsby really getting if he was not in gambling
Jail.
rehab right
In
now,
college jail.
yeah, if he wasn't in college jail right now, pretend like that didn't happen. Is him doing 6 tweets a week worth $5 million for a card? Like, no, of course it's not. But that's not up for the CSC to decide. Like that part of it, like Texture says, they're supposedly evaluating fair market value. Yeah, but the fair market value is whatever people are paying for it.
Yeah,
and
when
so
you
if
own
Texas Tech
everything.
says, like, hey, we're going to give Brendan Sorsby $5 million, and in exchange, we get 6 tweets a week about a car dealer or 6 tweets over a 4-month period of time. Like, and they say they want to pay him $5 million for that. The CSC can't stop him because
It's outside of
that's
them.
what it is.
It's if I had billions of dollars and was like, hey, Brandon Sorsby, come to Nebraska. All I want is you to tweet 4 times about Omaha patio ride. It's like, all right, deal.
Sweet.
Like,
yeah.
sweet, you're in.
Yeah.
Like, I get to decide that. But it's the Wild West of
They'll figure this out.
college football. They will. They'll figure it out because they have to, not because they're like trying really hard to.
Right.
Something has to happen. The dam is going to break, and then there's going to
How much
be
you
real
watch?
rules.
How much have you watched Frozen with your kids?
A lot.
Me too. Okay.
Well, actually, I've watched more like YouTube Frozen.
What about like Frozen 2?
Not as much.
I love Frozen 2. So in Frozen 2, they have the big rock monster that
Yep.
throws the rocks at the dam and breaks the dam.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a
Who's
rock.
the rock monster?
There's going to be a rock monster.
There is a rock monster.
Nebraska
somewhere.
was just not the rock monster.
No, they were very much. They were throwing pebbles at the dam.
That's
The
okay.
dam said no.
They're-
Resounding no.
Their argument was not big enough.
Nebraska's not important enough to be the rock monster.
It was
right
not
now.
the rock monster that the dam thought it was getting, but the rock monster is definitely coming. There is no doubt about that. Great question from John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt on YouTube. Did Schaefer get fired?
Yes.
Find out tomorrow. Find out tomorrow.
I did suggest to cross his name on the video.
That is
stream.
true. You never know. All right, we'll take a break. If you guys have any questions on that, let us know. 402-951-1620. Back after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, last night we discovered a new and cool way to RPI massage. Boston College, who is a top 25 ranked team, is trying to protect their RPI in college baseball. They announced that their game tonight with UMass Lowell was canceled. Why? Because they are not because there's a threat of rain or they left the tarp off or they ran out of light or there was another one that came out yesterday that somebody just said, we don't have enough pitching to do this, which I kind of respect. They said to remain within the NCAA mandated limit for regular season competitions. So you are allowed to play 56 games in college baseball. Boston College in particular is allowed to play 58 because they played in a preseason tournament in Puerto Rico. Now, I'm sure their plausible deniability here is that they haven't actually petitioned the NCAA, so they just want to be safe and say, hey, we can't go over 56 because that's what the limit is. Either that or they're just trying to sneak this by everybody and act like they didn't play in the Puerto Rico thing and they actually are allowed 58, but nobody's going to look that up. But I did. Okay. I want to say this about the RPI massaging. We've talked about this a lot over the last several weeks. Am I crazy that this stuff doesn't really bother me at all? Everybody's kind of freaking out about it. There are some games that have been canceled. Obviously, we have a problem with the RPI. The problem with the RPI is that you should not be penalized for winning baseball games.
Correct.
Point blank period. You cannot be allowed to go down in the RPI for winning baseball games, which is what these teams are scared of in these last couple weeks of the season as they're trying to protect their spot. But it doesn't actually bother me that much that teams are going out of their way and canceling these games late in the season. Also, especially when you get into this week of the season where you're playing on Tuesday and then usually the last series of the year is Thursday, Friday, Saturday. In the case of both of our teams that are playing tonight in Omaha, they both have to go on the road to play Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, which is a little bit difficult. So, whatever it is, I actually don't mind that these teams are RPI massaging all that
I
much.
think it's ridiculous.
It is a little ridiculous. Yes, I will admit
that. The strategy then should be schedule an early season tournament to where you will have your 56 games played by that by the last series of the year. So let's say Nebraska played an early season tournament. They're at 56 right now. They could cancel the last 2 games of the season against Minnesota, which in theory would be a good deal for their RPI because it's Minnesota. And, you lose one of those games and it obviously is going to hurt you, especially when you're trying to host. That would be the strategy moving forward for every team who plays college baseball.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing as they do this a lot around the NBA trade deadline. They do waiver guys. They're just waiting for a couple of those guys' contract buyouts to kind of come through or whatever it is. It's sort of the same thing here. We're at the last 2 or 3 weeks of the regular season in baseball. You figure out where your RPI is. You have a couple midweek games. You just bang them. If they don't exist.
Why not do it halfway through the season when you've got a terrible team? You're going to get to 58. Why not do it when you're playing, Louisiana Monroe on a random Tuesday?
Is that a bad RPI team?
I don't know. I'm just making.
But in your mind, are they bad?
Yes. In my mind, when you're playing a team of an RPI over 175, just say, well, this Tuesday we don't want to play because we know we've got 2 games to play with throughout the entire season. This is bad. This is not good.
It's bad.
Terrible.
You should not be able to.
The RPI allows them to want to do this.
It's also bad because you shouldn't be able to cancel a game on your schedule.
But what if
didn't Purdue do this a few years ago and it really hurt Nebraska?
Well, they had the whole tarp. They were trying to get into the Big Ten tournament.
It was a fake. It was a fake. The tarp is they left the tarp on the field or they forgot to put the tarp on the field or whatever it was. You should not be able to cancel games on your schedule. It's as simple as that.
Okay.
If the game is on your schedule, you should have to play that game.
Yeah, I don't care.
It's crazy.
Cancel it. Whatever.
There's now it's malpractice to not do this. This is what every team should be doing.
Yeah.
You should try and get those early season big wins. Let's say Nebraska took 2 of 3 from Auburn and their RPI is a little bit higher than it is now early in the year. Then they're not in the same position because they're not at 56 already, but cancel the Minnesota games. I would hate that.
I don't think
even
you
if-
can cancel conference games, but I'd be interested to see somebody try.
Yeah, well, or say the tarp was left on the field, or the tarp wasn't put on the field in time.
Oh, wait, it's snowing in Minneapolis this weekend.
We can't play.
Nobody
Sorry.
can actually verify this.
So,
right?
or canceled. Like, what if Nebraska's like, we don't want to play Creighton tonight because it'll hurt our RPI?
Now they could do that.
That would be insane.
Now they have other reasons to play this game, which
Of
is
course.
it's a rivalry, and a big crowd stands to be gained tonight. But yeah, I want to. There's one more thing on this that I want to get to after the break here, because the coaches in college baseball got a message yesterday as well. So we could get to that after this. I want to hear from you guys. 402-951-1620. We'll be back 7:00 hour coming up on 1620 The Zone. 7 o'clock here on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Michael Snow filling in for Mike Schaefer today. Who people are asking, I suppose, if Mike Schaefer's is fired. But, I mean, there's really no way to know. If he's just not here for the rest of eternity, then you'll know, I suppose. But you won't know until then.
Yes.
So just to follow up on this RPI massaging thing, we got a text. Actually, maybe it was a tweet or it was a comment on YouTube. Nathan Zajasker writes in, if you have to cancel because of roster issues, then it should be a forfeit.
I think if you have to cancel for any reason, it should be a forfeit other than horrible things.
I just think they should fix the RPI so that you don't lose points when you win.
They should also fix the schedule.
There should be an incentive for playing the games. And if you win a game, that should be good for your resume, not bad for your resume.
Yeah, do. Admittedly, I'm not in on college baseball RPI.
It's pretty much the same.
Is it
story
like
as
winning
basketball.
margin is still important? Like if Nebraska wins,
I don't think margin
12
matters.
to 0 against Minnesota.
I don't think margin matters because I don't know how much they look at the net. There is a net for baseball, or maybe there is a fake net for baseball where somebody has done the math on it or whatever it is. I don't think margin of victory matters, but it's just where you play and if you win.
It's also baseball, which is great. Like
it's baseball.
RPI in baseball
Literally,
is tough because it's
anybody can beat anybody.
Yes, like Oregon, and now Oregon's a good team, but they looked like the better team against UCLA for their series, and Oregon is not a better overall baseball team than those kind of things will happen.
But they have to get it down to metrics somehow, apparently. They don't in Major League Baseball. There's no metrics that are involved. It's just literally the wins and the losses.
Yes.
But they have a big enough sample size to make that real. So the Division I head baseball coaches got a memo last week from Michael Alford, who's the chair of the Division I Baseball Oversight Committee. It says this: on behalf of the NCAA Division I Baseball Oversight Committee Championship Subcommittee, I wanted to let you know that we are concerned with the practice of canceling regular season games for reasons other than inclement weather. It is not the intent or spirit of the game to adjust scheduled games in an attempt to strategically impact selection data or metrics. As you are aware, when selecting teams for the championship subcommittee weighs all the available data in the complete body of work. The subcommittee has kept and will continue to keep a watchful eye on team schedules and any known reasons for any cancellation. During the subcommittee's subjective evaluation of teams, games canceled to avoid the impact on mathematical metrics will be discussed and could have a negative impact on the subcommittee's evaluation of a team. Best of luck to you and your institution the rest of the college baseball season. Thanks, Michael. So apparently they had done that each of the last couple years as well. And then they also realized that there wasn't much data found on the teams that were RPI massaging that they were hurt much as it pertains to the NCAA tournament.
You don't say.
So this was a bit of an empty threat the last couple of years, but who knows? It could be a not empty threat this year.
What are they going to do to Boston College?
They're not going to do anything.
Boston College is going to be a 2 seed, and it'll be fine.
They are literally not going to do anything to Boston College.
No.
But I like that they put out the threat. It's like, don't do this anymore. All right, thanks. I won't.
Good luck. Sure. Don't force my hand here. We're gonna try and force your hand, and it still won't be forced.
There's probably, I don't know, 15 to 25 of them that I heard of this year, just by teams that were either on the bubble for the NCAA tournament or comfortably in, and they wanted to protect their seeding or their chances to host a regional or stuff like that, canceling midweek games to not fall in the RPI simply because they were playing them. I mean, like you said, Snow, one thing that could fix this is try and play better teams later in the season, but you're at the mercy of regional stuff, because you don't want to travel much in the midweek.
Nebraska's fortunate because they can travel to Kansas State, to all of these Midwest schools that are okay. Not every team has that.
It's
ability.
tough. I mean, in the Northeast in particular, there's just nobody up there, and not everybody can play Boston College or UConn. Every Tuesday night. Those are some halfway decent teams. Around here, there's Nebraska, there's Creighton. The Summit League schools are all like 200 plus in the RPI, but that's who your midweeks are going to be filled up with because they're around. Iowa doesn't schedule anybody,
I understand. So again, I get like the why teams do this, but like, let's just pretend Minnesota wasn't a conference team and Nebraska came out and said, "Hey, we're canceling these last 3 games."
It'd be really funny.
I would hate that. Like,
of course I'd hate it.
As a Husker homer, like through and through, like always, I would welcome any criticism of Nebraska there is. And also, like, to your fans, and again, like, I'm sure Boston College isn't drawing, 25 to 7,500 fans per game. I don't know Boston College attendance numbers, but I'm sure they're not very good. So maybe there's not a lot of fans to disappoint, but like not even looking at your fans, because as softball, I'm sure we'll talk about, they clearly don't.
We're going to talk about that next.
Their season ticket holders all that much, but so like tell your fans, hey, these last few games aren't happening because we don't want our RPI to drop 14 spots.
Give them a keychain at the next game or something.
We've got a bobblehead giveaway though coming up next year.
In lieu of playing this game that you could enjoy with your family, we will do a bobblehead.
We will give you a Will Bolt bobblehead.
That's actually, you know what? Like, we're gonna RPI massage out a game on this Tuesday night. If you had purchased tickets to the game,
what level of giveaway would make you okay with it?
1 free beer at a game of your choice.
I don't think
going forward,
1 free beer would do it for you. Like that, you'd be fine. What would you need to be like, okay, I'm fine with my season tickets being done for these 3 games?
No, I'm talking about one game. One game against
the last game of the season.
Let's just say, let's put it exactly in Boston College shoes. One game on a Tuesday night against UMass Lowell. Final week of the regular season.
When you put it like that, it's UMass
would
Lowell.
Would you take 1 free beer?
Am I a season ticket holder who goes to all games? Or am I me?
You are.
Who doesn't go to any game?
Let's say you are a season ticket holder.
Okay.
That ticket gets taken away from you in lieu of 1 free beer.
That ticket's probably about the same value as a free beer.
Yeah.
I would like to think
you probably got your season tickets for $80. Yeah.
At Boston College for sure. Yeah. If I'm a Boston College fan, probably. Yeah.
It's a challenge.
Because
it's really a challenge.
Now it being in Nebraska, I don't know. Yeah. A beer's I probably
pretty good.
Was a Boston College fan.
All right. Let me add it. Out of a baseball bat. Beer inside.
So we're gonna get to our. We have a power ranking and tiers thing with like things to sell to baseball.
Coming up in like 20
You're
minutes.
gonna find out my opinion of what I think of things to drink beer out of quickly. So that answer will be very obvious in a little bit.
By the way, power rankings with tiers, things you buy at a baseball game, is coming up in about 20 minutes. Okay, so speaking of tickets and fans and things of that nature, Nebraska softball. And baseball. I mean, this is a baseball and softball conversation. It certainly was a topic a week or 2 ago when Nebraska sent out an email to its season ticket holders. Hey, if we host regional play in baseball or softball, we are going to give first dibs to the highest donors at the Husker Athletic Fund. And those of you who are season ticket holders, you will not get the first dibs. So yesterday, the regional tickets went on sale for softball. They're all gone, by the way, very quickly. There's not very many seats to be had. So Tyler Kai, who is the deputy AD for revenue generation at Nebraska, so many jobs.
That sounds made up.
Details from today's Husker softball NCAA regional sale. All season ticket holders had an opportunity to purchase tickets, but it doesn't say this, but in parentheses, after the Huskers Athletic Fund people had a chance to purchase tickets. 1,000 plus tickets were available to the general public at 3:00. Ticket holders who resell their postseason tickets are ineligible to purchase in later rounds. That was another thing that people noticed yesterday. If you go on some of the secondary ticket websites, there are some tickets available, but they are very, very, very expensive. So maybe some people saw this as an opportunity to go back out and sell. So as I thought, this maybe was a little bit overblown, because I thought right away when they put this out, oh, okay, there's going to be a few people who are high donors at the Huskers Athletic Fund who grab some tickets because they're available to them for the regional rounds in both baseball and softball. Exciting. And then there will be some season ticket holders / most season ticket holders who will get jostled around as far as their actual seats are concerned. They will have worse seats for the regional, but that was always going to happen to an extent because the regional is different. It's an NCAA event, and you have to make room for other teams and other fans of other teams that have their own sections and things like that. There's just things that you have to worry about that you don't have to worry about for some regular season game. And sure enough, all the season ticket holders were offered tickets to softball yesterday, and I imagine it'll be the same thing for baseball. But the process is the thing that's not being enjoyed here by Nebraska fans.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like everyone who wanted a ticket, from a season ticket holder standpoint, got a ticket.
I think there was,
and it wasn't like upcharged yet.
There was a little bit of an outsized, like, oh my God, everybody is going to gobble up these tickets immediately.
Well, that's the way everybody made it sound,
right? And I think part of the issue is we think back to what Nebraska fans did for like the basketball tournament. It's like, oh my God, there's like 20,000 people there. They filled up an entire arena. They're going to do it again for softball and baseball. No, it's softball and baseball.
It will be a sellout, but
it will be a sellout for all of the fans that they can fill into. But there's a reason why they have a 2,500 seat stadium for softball. There's a reason why they have a 7,000 seat stadium for baseball.
The people who bought tickets and are immediately reselling them for $250.
That's messed up, yo.
Those guys suck.
Yeah,
I don't like them.
And good deal. Go ahead.
They're terrible.
They are terrible, and they have been canceled by the athletic department.
Yes.
Ticket holders who resell their postseason tickets are ineligible to purchase in later rounds.
Do you have the like seating chart? Can you see what a ticket costs right now?
Like from Huskers.com?
No,
or
from like the aftermarket. I would assume, because I saw yesterday or maybe 2 days ago, it was like $225 to go to a regional game, which is obviously insane and outprices a lot of fans.
Nebraska Cornhuskers softball tickets. Let's see. I want to go to the regional game. All sessions.
There's all session. There's day one. There's day two. I'm looking at GA for day one.
Are you which broker are you on?
I'm on
Joey?
I'm on StubHub right now.
StubHub.
I'm taking a look. General admission is $167.
That's crazy. What's a regular season ticket to softball cost?
It's got to be like $5,
$15
right?
a beer, like the same price as a beer.
I can't imagine that they're charging. I mean, most softball programs don't charge anything to go to their games.
Yeah,
for anyone.
The main issue here is the resale.
General admission $151, including fees.
This is not an indictment on Nebraska softball at all. Like, what would you pay to go to this game? I would pay $40. Like, if
I really wanted to go,
I
was really planning on going. Yeah,
it would be fun to go. Take the kids for $40 a ticket. That's expensive, but when you have multiple children, but still, like, that's where the market ideally would be. $150. You can't take your family to this game. Period. No. You just can't do it.
No, there wasn't going to be enough seats anyway.
Which is the issue.
The University of Nebraska encourages supporters to sell unused game tickets on our preferred secondary ticket marketplace, SeatGeek. So this exists so that people will sell them if they can't use them. So they're going used in some way, shape, or form. This does, and I would imagine it's a very, very difficult thing to figure out. Like, hey, I can't use these tickets because I'm busy, or I bought them specifically to sell them. I don't know how you find that out. If you're Nebraska, the University of Nebraska prohibits the purchase of tickets with the sole purpose of reselling for personal or commercial gain. Nebraska reserves the right to monitor ticket sales, transfers, and use, and to cancel, withhold, and alter any season ticket holder and Husker Athletic Fund membership benefits of any account suspected of acting as a ticket broker.
Is this the same thing as the guy who told Boston College that he's going to ruin their RPI because they canceled? Like, are they actually going to do anything here? Will they follow up?
I don't know. I don't know the inner workings of how. I can't imagine there's that many people who are like, I'm going to go, who I am a Husker Athletic Fund donator,
a big donator.
I'm a big donator to the program. And here's what I want to do. I want to buy these tickets because I have access to them exclusively to price gouge our softball fans.
I want to make
Like,
$194.
that feels like not something a rich person would do. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know what rich people do, but that
Yeah,
feels
I'll
like,
never know.
that feels like not something
do
a
rich
rich
people-
person.
Maybe that's why we're not rich, because we're not taking the chance to make $112 on a ticket.
It just feels like
Probably
a big
hanging out with their cat.
a big hassle and a big risk to do that purposefully.
Why don't?
But I don't know.
If the athletic department was really after them, they'd say we're going to affect all of your other ticket purchases as well.
That's what they're saying. They're like, hey, we're
not
gonna
just softball, or like everything.
Yes, everything. We have your Husker
Good.
Athletic Fund account. We know who you are, and we will destroy you. That's what
They should be destroyed.
That's basically what
End
they're
them.
But who is doing this?
I don't. Who is more likely to? I don't want to upset season ticket holders. Who is more likely to resell their tickets?
Okay,
the season ticket holders or the Husker Fund people who bought the tickets?
probably the Husker Fund people.
How many of them are there? Because that's not a big stadium.
Great question.
So
it can't be
all
more
season
than like
ticket holders
50.
had the chance to.
Apparently, that is what Nebraska is saying.
So,
every season ticket holder had the opportunity to purchase not necessarily their tickets, but tickets.
Yeah. So,
And I don't know how I could find out probably, but I can't imagine there's more than
what does that stadium
1,500
hold?
softball season ticket holders.
I don't even know what the stadium holds.
It's probably about like
3,000,
2,500, something like that.
Yeah. So half of the stadium is probably season ticket holders.
Maybe even less. Honestly, I might be overshooting that. It might be like a few
that
hundred.
feels.
A few hundred.
I feel like I remember a story earlier this year, like softball set a record for season tickets sold because
and people have found out, like specifically for softball, it's a great way, to just buy season tickets. They cost like $100.
Yep.
So let's just do it for the entire year, and then we can go when we want.
Yeah.
So maybe it is season ticket holders who are doing this. Whatever it is, I think this will all smooth over, and frankly, I think it'll all smooth over for baseball too. As weird as it is for the process, they must have the data to suggest that this won't be an issue and that there won't be so many people getting squeezed out of their seats who are actually season ticket holders. Like that would, I imagine that's why they're doing it the way they're doing it. To both, you are both giving a hat tip and a nod to your Huskers Athletic Fund donators who are like, yeah, here's a great perk for you. Here's a great opportunity. You're trying to keep those people happy. Absolutely. And not pissing off your season ticket holders too much for baseball and softball because they're all going to get tickets. Now they won't be in their seats, but like I said, I don't think they were ever going to be in their seats.
Well, how many opposing fans are going to travel for whoever Nebraska plays in their first game?
Great question.
12 to 25?
Depends on who it is. If it's Creighton, a lot.
Oh, fair. Yes, that's true.
All of a sudden, the competitive ticket market thing goes way up there.
I don't like ticket scalpers, price gougers. I think they're
Me neither.
it's
inappropriate.
That's an indictment on who you are as a person if you do that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Let people go to the games who want to go to the games.
100%.
You shouldn't be trying to make.
And I don't think there's a lot of that going on, to be honest with you. I really don't. Mustache Adam writes in, says this is like what Augusta does to people who resell their master's ticket / badges. It's to prevent making money that isn't going back into the university coffers. Right. You don't want just random people getting rich.
God forbid.
Not off of us.
I would like the Nebraska donors to be rich, to get rich. Maybe.
But then they could donate instead of just buy tickets.
Well, now they have an extra $78 to donate.
That is
they've
true.
resold their tickets.
Maybe this is the key. Maybe this is how rich people get rich.
This is like cleaning money somehow.
They do like 7 microtransactions where they
Yes.
gain $100 every year. And
Yeah.
then they're like, all right, now I got it.
Now I have $700 more dollars
I'll
than I would
donate
have.
all that back to the university, and then I'll raise my Huskers Athletic Fund donation, standing.
One hand feeding the other.
Yeah, that's genius, actually, when you think about it that way. John from Salina, NU baseball has been awarded a regional. If not, please stop talking like they have. No, John, NU softball has been awarded a regional. We're talking about the potential of NU baseball being awarded a regional, which is possible. I apologize for any confusion.
I feel like we said softball a lot that segment.
We did. I apologize, John. All right, let's take a break. We have our power rankings with tiers. Things you buy at a baseball game. Undoubtedly, Michael and I will miss some things here.
Yes.
Of things that we didn't remember that are great to buy at baseball games. But we hope that this is somewhat of a comprehensive list. Let us know what you think, 402-951-1620, or, of course, tweet at us at @HappenSchafe. We'll be back right after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, it's time for power rankings with tiers. A lot of people do power rankings. A lot of people do tiers. Very few do power rankings with tiers. Now, we have been accused on this show of basically just doing tiers. We got to straighten things out.
I'm a little bit concerned. That's what I.
We got to straighten this out. We have to stay true to our identity and do power rankings with tiers, which is a game that I believe you and I invented together.
Yes, we did Big Ten power rankings.
Big
with
Ten
tiers.
power rankings with tiers. And then I think that's how it started on this show as well. And then I was just like, let's just do this every week. We can't do Big Ten power rankings with tiers every week. That'd be stupid.
That would be stupid.
Power rankings with tiers, and then we power rank different things with tiers. Today's subject is things that you buy at a baseball game. I am excited to see where this goes. Joey, name some things that you might buy at a baseball game.
Are we talking food or just random?
We're talking literally anything you'd spend money on.
Pretty much, if I was a young little boy, I would want to get a baseball just to.
What
play.
if you're you? What if you're
you're
me,
you
me.
now?
I right now I would get probably a hat or probably a shirt if I need one.
Interesting?
I mean, if I'm at a Nebraska game, I will probably need a Nebraska shirt because I don't really wear Nebraska shirts. If I'm at a Creighton game, I would buy a Creighton hat.
Would you buy this shirt?
Yes, I would buy that shirt. I
Look
love
at
that shirt.
1620 the
beautiful.
J.
I got this shirt for free.
Unbelievable.
I'm not sure how our programs nowadays with at baseball games, are they like pages long, or are they just like a
I'm
one
starting
cheater?
to realize I've left a lot out.
Perfect.
because
I only did food.
programs are a thing I get at a sporting event in general, regardless of what sport it is.
Joey, I'm with you. Handshake meme on that. I love getting a program.
Yeah, so do I, and I left it out.
Well,
I can't believe it.
you can-
Maybe I'll
add
add it to
the
my
list.
beer tier.
Just add it to the list.
All right, let's go.
And obviously beer.
My
Yeah.
first tier is almost for sure not leaving without. All right.
Wow.
I'm almost for
We
sure
started so differently.
not leaving without these things. A fantastic local beer in a big old cup. All right.
Yep.
That's
Mhm.
number one. If I go to a stadium in whatever location that I'm in, I'm getting a beer that is brewed in or around the area,
Even if it tastes bad.
even if it tastes bad. But how would I know if it tastes bad if I haven't tried it? If I go to Minnesota, I will get a Minnesota beer. If I go to Pittsburgh, I will get a Pittsburgh beer. That's what I will do.
A local brewed beer.
I will get it. Yes, a locally brewed beer. That is a thing that I will not leave without. Also, potentially on the same day, a giant domestic can of beer.
Yep.
Big can.
Oh yeah. Big
Miller
can.
Miller Lite,
Likely
Coors Light.
$20.
It does
Doesn't
not
matter.
matter. It does not matter what kind it is. I don't have a preferential treatment to any single one of them. I think Miller Lite gets probably a bad rap, but
I don't like Miller Lite.
I still will like to have it at a
Unless
baseball
they are
game.
some sort of sponsor on this radio station. then
They
I
are
love them.
not,
Okay.
but yeah.
Well, I don't like them.
A hat. I'd love to buy a hat. Do I need all
I
the
love
hats?
hats.
Absolutely not. I don't need the hats, but I usually buy a hat. And last but not least in this tier, a bag of peanuts.
Oh, you're gonna
You hate peanuts?
you're gonna hate my first
All
tier.
right, jeez. All right, what's your first
My
tier?
first tier is overrated. Will not buy.
How's that your first tier?
That's my lowest tier.
Oh, you
My
so
bottom
you
tier.
flipped the list.
So I have to
Yeah.
flip it around.
yeah, Joey.
My
do-
bottom tier.
Thanks for the clarification.
I'm viewing it as like a pyramid. You know, the top is there's fewer
Okay.
things because they're my favorite.
All right, all right.
So this is my bottom lowest
I
tier.
like how we're going in opposite directions.
The first thing on my overrated tier is peanuts. A bag of peanuts.
That is
They're
ridiculous.
messy. They don't taste.
They are messy, but
they
that's
don't
why
taste-
baseball games are outside.
They don't. Most of them are. They don't
They all
taste
are.
very good.
They all should be.
They don't. I would never eat peanuts outside of a baseball game. I'm not going to eat them inside of a baseball game.
Oh man, so good with a beer. It just makes me want to chug a bunch of beer after I eat a bunch of
I
peanuts.
want to chug a bunch of beer just because there's a beer in front of me.
But if you had the salty taste of peanuts, then
there are better salty tastes.
oh, okay. Well,
Now that being said,
your list.
nachos is not one of them because that's also on my overrated tier because they get soggy. And most stadiums either give you the like fake cheese in that see-through plastic, in
Yep.
like the overall container. Those are
the
horrible.
glob of it.
Yes, that's an overrated. Also overrated on mine is buying clothes inside the stadium because they are marked up an astronomical amount.
They
Hats,
are.
shirts.
But it's all
of the above.
expensive on the internet too. Like
Yes.
I
I also don't. I'm not a I don't have like a lot of team apparel.
I'm with you on the nachos thing.
Overrated.
The nachos, I don't really get it. It's not what I want at a baseball game. It's just a lot going on. The chips, of course, are not evenly distributed with the nachos.
And half the time they're soggy, and half the time,
yeah.
And then my last thing on the overrated tier is any specialty food. If they come out with like a
giant hot dog,
here's your giant hot dog with chocolate syrup and popcorn on it, I will never, ever buy any sort of specialty food. Because almost every time there's a reason it's specialty and not around the entire
good
time.
one. That's a good one. We will get to those later on. Those are at the bottom, but I don't look at it like a pyramid. So we're not building.
I'm starting
the pyramid at the top of the pyramid, which is impossible when I think about it.
It is impossible, yeah.
But this isn't pyramid with tiers. It's just power ranking with tiers. All right, guilty pleasures. Guilty pleasures. These are something that, like, if I do have a giant beer, I'll probably end up buying, something from the authentic store. So I go to the Royals. I go to the Royals games. Their little authentic store there, and they'll have like a bunch of hats that are game worn or whatever from like spring training. It was like, this is worn by this person. I don't care who it was worn by. It costs $10, and I buy one. Same thing with the jerseys. I bought a jersey for like $40 it's like a real authentic jersey. It just has a person who I've never heard of on it, like a coach. It says Garcia 76,
which is funny to wear.
Who is that? I don't know.
That's a funny jersey to wear.
It cost $40. It was great. And Garcia is the name of a popular Royals player. He's just not number 76, so it's not him. I also famously bought a Ryan O'Hearn Jackie Robinson Day jersey, number 42. Yeah. Didn't have the name O'Hearn on it. It's great.
So it's just a 42.
It's just 42.
Yeah, it's just a Jackie.
I don't have to tell anybody that it belonged to Ryan O'Hearn.
You do not. No. And you probably shouldn't.
He was a horrible Royal.
Very bad.
He was a decent Oriole, but then a horrible Royal before that. A big pretzel with cheese. Now, I love the big pretzel.
That's later on my list.
And this is the cheese. Like, you just talked a lot about the cheese that comes out of the dispenser. In this case, I love the cheese that comes out of the dispenser. Not on chips or anything like that. With the pretzel, they asked me if I wanted salted. I said, absolutely, I want it salted. Yes. A program. Guilty pleasure. Love a program.
Do you keep score ever at a baseball game?
No, and I also don't like to carry stuff around, so this is a difficult one for me. But, if I'm not thinking about it, I'll buy a program. And then occasionally, this one's very occasional, a drink with a funny straw.
Yeah, we'll get to the exotic drinks on mine too. Because it's pretty high up for me.
Okay, good. What's coming up next for
my
you?
next tier is things that make your children happy. So these are things I would only buy because my kids want them, and I'm at a baseball game that I want to watch, and I'm trying to keep them entertained and happy. The first one is cotton candy. Would never buy that in any other scenario in my entire life. I could tell you right now, it is unlikely that I will ever eat cotton candy again in my entire life.
Yeah. I'm thinking about it. It makes my teeth hurt.
Yes. Yeah. And then your stomach.
Yeah.
And then,
I don't want that.
So I will buy that. Ice cream in a helmet.
And
then the kids can take the helmet home, and it's got like the Cubs C on it. Or
that's a little bit for you too.
A little bit, but
ice cream's good.
Yeah, ice cream is good. It's and then like an icy. At the I want to say it's the Creighton games. They have the ones where you can like make your own icy, or maybe that's a Storm Chaser game where you like put the flavors in.
Yeah, they do.
Last year during the College World Series, they had it too. You can like make your own flavors, and it's disgusting because you add like I think one of the flavors like tiger blood and then blue wave and my kid just like drenches it and it's gross, and then it gets everywhere and their hands are sticky.
When the Ding Ding Man came, I always wanted the snow cone, and my mom was like, "Don't get the snow cone; it's dumb." And I was like, "Wrong. The snow cones are the best.
Awesome.
What do you want me to get?" They're like, anything else. Nope. I'm like, nope. I like the
absolutely
snow cone.
Not. So that is my tier. That's essentially things that I would never in my life get again, but will because I want to make my children happy at the game.
All right, these are frequent purchases for me. Chicken basket with fries, old reliable. Love a chicken basket with fries. I will occasionally buy a Jersey.
I'm out on jerseys now.
All right. You were in on jerseys at one point?
I used to have a ton of Cubs jerseys, and now I don't know where they are anymore. But
I don't think that they sell them much anymore. They used to have a big jersey wall like at Kauffman Stadium, but now it's been replaced with like I don't know, cool looking shirts.
Yeah.
I don't want the
I
cool
also
looking,
don't want the cool.
I don't want the
shirts,
cool looking
no.
shirts. And then ice cream, but I really don't need it out of a batting helmet. A cup or a dish is fine.
Yeah. Well, it's like $7 more if you get the helmet.
Exactly. And then I have an overrated tier, but we'll get to that in a second.
These are the musts. Every
We're going up.
we're going up. You can see we're going up.
Mhm.
The musts are hot dog. Got to have a hot dog at the game. It's just even if the hot dog's not great, just feels like something that you have to get. And then big pretzel. Need the big pretzel. If I see a big pretzel, I will get it 99 times out of 100. If I
Very
see a big
supportive of the big pretzel.
Yeah, so I love a big pretzel. Those are my two musts on this tier. Everything above you can consider a must now.
So my last tier is overrated. There are much better options.
Yeah, we did this
exact opposite. And so you're not going to like this one. This is worth a discussion for a couple minutes, maybe. Hot dog.
Crazy.
I just like. There's a lot of better food options, and not that it needs to be better. Like, but even in the hot dog category, I would just, like I was at the Twins game a couple of years ago at Target Stadium or Target Field for the first time. And they were like, well, we have hot dog, we have Polish, we have brats, and we have whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, Polish. I want that.
I'm not a big Polish fan.
I don't know what the difference is, to be honest with you, except for, the way it's made. It doesn't taste all that different. I don't mind the hot dog. I just think the way that hot dogs get talked about now, there's just a lot of hot dog content out there. I see a lot of people talking about hot dogs and reviewing hot dogs and things of that nature.
I mean, a hot dog's a hot dog.
I don't really it's still a hot dog. Elsewhere in this tier, have you seen, this is becoming very popular at ballparks now. They have the guys go around, the vendors go around, and what do they have on their trays but chocolate-covered strawberries?
I've literally never seen that.
Who is buying the chocolate-covered strawberries at the baseball game? I don't know, but I see the people walking around with the chocolate-covered strawberries. And then, of course, cotton candy.
Yeah.
Like you said, I don't get it. It's for kids, obviously, but never, not going to happen. If my kid really wants cotton candy, it's going to be really hard for me to be like, yeah, okay, here's the.
Well, when your child looks at you and says, Dad, I want cotton candy, it's tough to be like, no, screw you and all your happiness.
That hasn't happened yet. So I'm looking forward to the first time when that happens.
Yeah. You're going to tell your child no.
I don't know. I have done that before.
Well, yes, I've told my child
no. We have to go to bed.
When yes, when you're at a baseball game having a good time with your family, I would assume you're not going to be like, no, you can have.
What if I got her what if I got her nachos instead?
I don't think she would want nachos. She wants cotton candy. She wants something sweet.
I would rather have her have a snow cone than
I would too, yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe there's a compromise in there.
My next tier is called beer.
Beer.
And beer is in this tier.
Okay, how many different kinds of beer?
I will always have like just the domestic. I like domestic beer, and I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm not a beer snob. I like Busch Light, Bud Light, whatever.
That's great.
Give me your
giant can.
Giant can.
How do you feel about the seltzers?
They're fine, but I won't buy one at a game. I'd rather have a
Me
beer.
neither. I don't mind having them like on the golf course or if I'm out on the patio or something like that.
Cool.
At a baseball game, no, I don't want like a high noon.
Yeah,
I want
like
beer.
I want like a beer. I want to feel like I'm drinking a beer.
How do you would you prefer it in a cup or in a can?
Can, for sure.
I prefer it in a cup.
The cups for me,
I love the cup.
I don't know. Yeah, I think I like the can just because I if given the opportunity in any scenario, it will be like a glass bottle, number one. Obviously, you can't do that at baseball games. Can, then a cup.
Okay.
Because I don't trust the cleanliness of places very often.
But what if it's
after working in a bar industry for a very long time, I don't trust the cleanliness of any cup that I'm not in control of.
The cup is new. The cup is just out of the the wrapper.
A Dixie cup.
It's just
not a Dixie cup. It's like a plastic cup.
A shot of beer.
Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah.
I just have something against drinking out of cups in places I'm not in control.
Right.
Like restaurants, I will do it. I'm not like weird about it. I'll do it. But
those are the recycled, like you put them in the dishwasher cups. I'm talking about like this is a new plastic cup.
I'd be fine with it, but I'd prefer the can.
All right.
My last tier is beer, but better, and it's just beer out of stuff, like beer out of a bat, beer out of what else. Beer comes in. I don't know.
Little squiggly
stuff on straw.
Yeah.
Although beer out of a straw is tough.
That's a bad deal.
Yeah, but beer out of like anything other than the normal things beer comes in, I always, and this is generally after I've had 3 or 4 big beers, or
Yeah.
2 or 3 big beers now because I'm older. I will, if I see a novelty beer, I will buy the novelty beer item.
Absolutely.
That's my top tier.
I don't have a problem with that at all. A couple comments from you all. Here is Zach on the Equitable Bank inbox. Subject line, which one of my favorite subject lines of an email that I've ever received from a listener, hot pretzel from Zach. And it's a picture of a giant hot pretzel from the zoo. She says they need the giant pretzels from the zoo at the games. They feed the whole family. I'm sure some ballparks have that where they like to have the pretzel that feeds 4 or something like that. That sounds awesome.
Are you a hot pretzel everywhere you go? Like restaurant, if I see pretzels on the menu as an app, I get it.
I am immediately attracted to it.
Yeah,
that's for sure. I don't know if I get it every time, but I am. It's like a tractor beat.
Yeah, it's one of the most like universal foods for me. I will eat it anywhere.
Here's Peter. I've always wondered, he tweets at Happen Shape, I've always wondered what people saw in eating a pretzel with mustard. Not a fan. Cheese all the way. So I do like it when they give you the option of the mustard. I like having the hot mustard.
Do you use it?
It's probably like a 4-to-1.
Yeah.
4 dips in cheese, 1 dip in mustard.
Just a little change up.
I like it. I want to make that clear. I like it.
I used to work at a movie theater, and we used to do like cinnamon sugar pretzels, garlic pretzels, salted pretzel, like all the cheese pretzels.
Mm-hmm.
Just give me the regular, the salted normal pretzel with cheese.
I did like at the mall, the places at the mall that had the cinnamon.
Oh yeah, Auntie Anne's, right?
The cinnamon sugar. Those were really good.
Where Saul Goodman worked.
Yeah, that's right. He worked at Cinnabon.
Oh, that's Cinnabon. Yes, close enough.
El Squarcho writes in, I usually agree with Connor on almost everything, but putting hot dogs in the overrated list is absolutely awful.
He agrees with you on almost everything.
And he agrees with you,
which is crazy.
Gus Mohawk says the top dog is funnel cake. It tastes amazing and smells incredible. I wish they made funnel cake scented candles. Funnel cake was interestingly forgotten here.
There's usually a standard too.
I'm also certain they make funnel cake scented candles.
They have to. They make everything. You could buy anything in the whole wide world.
You can go to Walmart, $20 for 3 of them.
I think here, this might be a take. I think funnel cakes are essential to the smell of like the aroma of places, but not essential to the actual experience.
I'm always disappointed if I eat a funnel cake.
Yeah,
this is like eating.
I don't know that I want to eat the funnel cake. I like the fact that it's there and it exists.
It's comforting to know it's around.
Yeah, it really is. Kent says, I have 4 kids. At a baseball game or any other event, it gets real easy to say no. You just have to say it one time. There you go.
I just don't say
Kent.
no.
Yeah. You could though.
I enjoy my children being happy, so I don't tell them no.
Get them a funnel cake.
I've already spent an obscene amount of money to get into a game. I may as well spend an obscene amount of money more to make them even happier.
All right, parenting advice. We will indeed take it. Let's come back with the headlines after this on 1620 The Zone. By the way, one big omission, I think, on the tiers list comes in from Pedro. He says, "Hi guys, just popcorn at a game is okay. Doesn't matter if you drop the popcorn; it will not bother you." I do love a big giant bucket of popcorn at a
I don't
sporting
think
event.
you guys mentioned Cracker Jacks as well.
I don't want Cracker Jacks.
I've never bought Cracker Jacks at a. I don't know if I've ever bought.
No,
Cracker
I've never.
Jacks.
I never
John
bought
always
them
buys
either.
Cracker Jacks before
Well,
the
'cause he's a
game 'cause
million years old.
Exactly, yeah, and he
He's
hasn't
an
very,
old
and he
man.
goes, "There's nothing like Cracker Jacks." I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
I feel like I would chip a tooth on Cracker Jack. I've never eaten them. I don't know, but
It's just caramel corn.
is that all it is?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
Why do we like be all grandiose about
I
it?
don't know.
It's caramel corn.
yeah. I don't know why it became such a fabric of the sport, but
Well, it's in a song that we sing.
that is true. That's probably why it became that. All right, quickly, we got to get to the headlines, Joey. What do we got?
All right, first one. 2 women slap each other on Carnival cruise to Mobile. Face federal charges.
There are cruises to Mobile.
Okay.
Apparently.
There are cruises at all right now.
That's
I thought
true.
cruises were dead because of
I guess this was
Honda.
before the whole hot topic of diseases. Anyway, the second one. Could this noxious Florida seaweed become your next meal?
Mm. So, what do we want to talk about? Like a bunch of young people who found out that you could eat seaweed, or 2 people slapping each other on a cruise?
I am more interested by the cruise slapping rather
let's do
than caring about something I'll never eat.
Good one. 2 women slap each other on a Carnival cruise. I got to find out where this is, and then they face federal charges. This is from Fox 10 News in Mobile, Alabama. An argument on a cruise ship turned into a physical confrontation that ended with federal citations for 2 women, according to FBI interview summaries filed in federal court. The fight started over a dispute about whether a couple was standing in the correct line. Investigators say the dispute unfolded in March as the Carnival Spirit returned from the Bahamas. According to the FBI interview, the FBI? The trouble started when Tanya Nelson
International waters
confronted Lisa Horace and her husband while they were in line to settle their cruise account. Court records say Nelson told investigators she was trying to be helpful to the couple behind her and told them that they were in the wrong line, pointing to a sign showing it was for Diamond and Platinum members. In her statement to federal agents, Horace said she ignored Nelson at first, but the encounter escalated when Nelson touched Horace's husband's shoulder multiple times. Documents say the 2 got in a heated argument. Horace told agents Nelson threatened to slap her first, and she slapped Nelson. From there, the fight escalated. Horace told agents that Nelson tried to kick her as crew members moved in. Nelson told investigators Horace jumped on her back. Federal court records say Carnival staff had to intervene as the struggle played out in front of several bystanders and staff. Records say that Nelson told agents that she had previously been embarrassed while standing in the wrong line on cruises, and she said she thought she was trying to be helpful when the first person spoke up. Court records say investigators later reviewed surveillance footage before both women were issued federal citations for simple assault. The documents also showed that the women did not know each other before the encounter. Both women are scheduled to appear in federal court tomorrow. Carnival Cruise Line did not respond to a request for comment whether anyone was banned or faced disciplinary action after the fight.
Couple things. This was a cruise to the Bahamas, not to Mobile, Alabama.
Correct.
Which changes things drastically.
It may have parked, or
it was returning to
it was
Mobile.
returning to Mobile, Alabama. Yeah.
Second, I promise you, the lady in the Diamond Platinum, who's a Diamond Platinum member, didn't turn around and be like, "Hey, you're in the wrong line. This is for." No,
the language may have been different.
I'm Diamond Platinum, and I can tell that you're not supposed to be
miss,
in this line.
You are not in the Diamond Platinum line.
I am.
What do you mean I'm not in the Diamond Platinum line? I don't look like I'm in the Diamond Platinum line? Slap,
I don't know
slap,
if
slap.
anybody from Mobile, Alabama looks like they're in the Diamond Platinum line.
What?
I listen, this happens at airports all the time. Like when people, like I would travel an obscene amount for work. So I got like upgraded to like the highest level of American, and they call you up first, and like people would.
You're looking down on people.
No, not at all. I'm the one who doesn't care because my flight would be like 4:30 in the morning, so everybody's grumpy.
Well, it's really nice of you.
And then
Joey's giving you the finger wag, by the way.
We got to go to break.
Which means we have to take a break.
Well, quickly, people would always yell at other people like, "Hey, this is the elite members only right now." And
back
I'd
into
be
this
sitting there like,
on 1620 the zone.
All right, apologies on behalf of our old friend the clock for getting in the way of Michael Snow's story
I
about
didn't
how
know there
cool
was
and rich he is.
I don't pay for anything.
Well, I mean, you're in the diamond line, you know.
I don't know what it's called.
I do love being in the diamond line. Anytime I'm in the diamond line of anything, I'm feeling good.
It says you're rich.
What is your airport etiquette? Because I wear like sweatpants and a sweatshirt no matter what. But so this is, again, going to sound pretentious and debaggy.
Mhm.
You oftentimes, especially on these flights when it's not full, get upgraded if you fly a lot. So I would always get upgraded to first class, which is nothing. It's just a bigger seat.
No. I fly on
And-
trash cans with 200 people who were jammed in like sardines.
Well, so do I. I'm just in the front of those
Okay.
trash cans.
All right, good.
But like I would be in like like what I'm wearing now, essentially.
Okay.
And everybody around me is like suit and like it's 5 a.m. again and like nice shoes and
Mhm.
and I would get like kind of a little bit of a bad look as I sat down next to them.
I don't know why the business people don't dress down a little bit on the plane.
I don't
know why you have to wear a suit on the plane. You really don't.
you don't have to.
I don't.
You're probably going right to a work meeting, like right after you land. That's usually the case.
But they
I
have
also
or
went
they're-
straight
they're on
into
video
work,
stream.
but would just change.
Yeah, exactly. There's a bathroom, at the airport where you could take advantage
That
of
is true.
all of their facilities. No, I like to I wear like a polo. I can wear like a polo.
Oh, see, I'm always like pants and a sweatshirt because it gets cold on the plane, and I don't like to be cold.
Yeah, maybe a hoodie. Okay, I don't know. It just kind of depends on the day. I'm not like a super dressed down guy though.
Comfort. It's all
I
about
do
comfort.
think there is some decorum that is needed at the airport as far as how people are dressed.
You're a noted airport guy. You like movies with airports.
I do.
Specifically Tom Hanks movies with airports.
That's right. I like
You
the terminal.
brought the terminal.
My
I was-
reputation precedes me. Absolutely. If Tom Hanks nothing would have saved Tom Hanks from being in the situation
Yeah, it's a tough.
that he
spot
was
to
in
be.
the terminal. But I was
Could you
going to say,
live in the terminal?
well, that's what Tom Hanks
Yeah,
did
you
in the
could live-
terminal.
Absolutely, they've got.
I know, but can you guys pull off living at the terminal?
How long do you think you could stay in an airport for? Like if you knew you wouldn't be kicked out.
The sleeping would be the
Mr.
problem.
Beast. Mr. Beast says you have $200,000 to stay here for a year.
A year?
We'll send Matt McMaster over for
Okay,
that.
so do I have unlimited money?
Yes.
Or
You-
maybe a
you
per
get your
diem?
normal. You have your normal amount of money that you generally have. your circumstances.
But it's coming out of my pocket. Like I have to buy. When I go to Hudson News, I have to buy a $6 bottle of water from my money, or is it Mr. Beast's money?
Well, for this scenario, we'll call it not your money.
All right, good. Yeah, I could. I mean, I could do that for a long time. The problem would be sleep. I wouldn't know where to sleep.
Have you had to sleep in an airport before?
I think there was one time where we had to. We got in super late, and the next flight out was at 5 whatever, and so we just stayed there. One time maybe.
Not fun.
It wasn't fun.
A very bad.
and
And
I
I like airports.
And I didn't really sleep. But I like airports because I like to walk around and see stuff and find out where the planes are going because that's
like a child in
I
the
am like a
airport.
child.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. But I wouldn't appreciate trying to sleep there. No.
Yeah, I think airports are fun. Airports are a place where nothing really matters. Like time of day doesn't matter. You can have a beer at any time. Spending an obscene amount of money on food doesn't matter because you just have to.
Yep.
I like airport. Yeah.
Just imagine when we get our beautiful brand new airport here in Omaha. It's going to be fantastic. Ryan in Delaware says plane rides used to be special and it was standard to wear a suit. Our generation pooped all over
You
that.
could also smoke cigarettes on the plane then too.
You could do a lot of stuff before
Yeah.
a certain time.
Here's the thing. Plane rides aren't special anymore. They're not. They're common.
Plane rides are
They're much more accessible now.
They
than
are definitely more accessible, but Spirit Airlines did just go out of business.
Well, it's because they charged you for a drink of water and to use the bathroom.
John says when you go straight to a meeting, you wear your work attire. I'm not changing in a disgusting airport bathroom. Same idea from Chris.
There you
on
go.
The Equitable Bank inbox. Not sure who said it, but the only reason you wear a suit on the plane is if you were immediately going to a meeting.
That's what I said.
Can you guys tell at the airport the people who are like dressed up to like try and impress. They're like talking on their phone about work like really loud.
Do you think they're doing that
bit,
on
yeah,
purpose?
yeah. People like to look important. Like people who are talking, or they have their spreadsheets pulled up on the plane when they don't have internet, and they're like,
I just don't know why you'd be doing anything at an airport to draw attention to yourself ever.
Yeah,
I want no one to talk.
I want my noise canceling headphones on, and for nobody to say a word to me.
Although I will say, if I do know somebody and I happen to bump into them at the airport, which does happen like relatively frequently, those are always fun conversations. But if I don't know you, like we're not talking.
Yeah, I don't want small talk in an airport.
Yeah, I'm throwing the headphones on and that's it. Okay. Welcome back, by the way, 8:00 hour. Happer, Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone. Mitch Sherman's going to join us here in about 20 minutes. We will talk with him we'll get to the bottom of the whole CSC thing that we talked about earlier. With him, also, he has another good story out on The Athletic today. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. I wanted to get Snow's opinion on Big Noon Kickoff. Okay, so the SEC fans are not happy about Big Noon Kickoff because they have been, it's hit them a little bit here. Oklahoma is playing at Michigan. Kickoff time is set for Big Noon Kickoff coming up early this September, an important non-con game, the return game for Oklahoma to Michigan, a game that Oklahoma won last year in Norman. They go back and they get the Big Noon Kickoff treatment. Then I saw it was quote tweeted by SEC Unfiltered. Big Noon Kickoff is one of the worst things to ever happen to college football. And the responses were, as you can imagine, people are not happy about it. A couple people were like, yeah, great point. I don't like these kickoff times, but Gus Johnson. And what they don't know is Gus Johnson also sucks.
Yes. Yeah. What? Here's first off on the Gus Johnson thing. Were you ever a fan?
Yes.
He used to be
absolutely
so much better.
Definitively. Yes.
Now his voice doesn't work, unfortunately for him.
Or his eyes.
Or his or maybe he has a really bad spotter. Maybe the spotter is the issue. Not
definitely.
I think it's probably Gus.
Yep.
Big Noon Kickoff. I mean, from somebody who, if I was a college student, I would hate it. Me now, I love Big Noon Kickoff.
Do you like when Nebraska's on Big Noon Kickoff?
I mean, they're very rarely on Big Noon Kickoff, but it wouldn't.
It's like once a year now.
If it was a home game, I would want it to be a night game. Any other scenario, I don't care. Like,
that's the perspective I'm thinking about it from, honestly. Like, if I want my game to have the best environment, if I want my game to have the most exposure. Now, the exposure part, it's going to because it turns out when you put a really good game on television,
people watch.
It doesn't matter what time it is. People are going to watch it. And that's why Big Noon Kickoff exists. So it doesn't compete with the late night, with the 7 o'clock, the other primetime games that are out there for all the other conferences. And so from that perspective, all the Big Ten honks, if there are any, they would argue with you and they would say, no, the Big Ten is genius. Jim Delaney is a genius or whatever for doing this several years ago. And I will say, yeah, but if you put Michigan and Ohio State or Michigan and, Iowa on TV at 7 o'clock, instead of it being Big Noon Kickoff, the same amount of people are going to watch it then. Yes, there is more competition, I think, going on at the time. I just can't stand the people who sit there and are like, oh, well, yeah, this is great for the conference because it's different and it's better. It's not better. It's definitively not better.
Yeah. Overall, no. I mean, you can't really replace like a big night game. Like it just feels bigger when it
does
7 p.m. kickoff, Michigan versus Oklahoma in this scenario, whomever it might be.
A couple years ago, I wondered out loud, like, is there any way where they go back, Fox goes back and they reevaluate this? Now, the numbers don't reflect that it's not a success.
No, because they own the early kickoff. Like they dominate the early kickoff.
I still wonder what the numbers would be if Big Noon was just at night, big night kickoff, just like any other game. I don't think they need to necessarily do that, but they're getting great responses off of it from the viewership perspective. Why? In my opinion, mostly, probably 80% because they're putting great games in that spot.
Yeah, I mean that's what it comes down to is no matter what, you could play at midnight and the fans would still watch a big game. That's what college football fans do. So the time isn't the big, it's just the competition. Like they want to avoid the competition, so they're not going head to head against the SEC
Soft
or whoever it might be. And
I wish they would go back tonight.
Yeah, listen, if I could choose, I would say, yeah, it'd be more fun to have these big games at night, but it's also kind of nice to wake up and the first game on of the entire day is a big game.
See, I need a little, like, I agree with you. Like, I like that there's good games in every window, and everybody will always tell you, hey, look, man, we get great games all day long. And that's what the Big Ten, I mean, even in the Big Ten conference, right? There's a great game at 11. There's a great game at 2:30 with CBS. There's a great game at night with NBC, theoretically on an every week basis. But I sort of like the old school, like, wake up. This is when I was in college or after college or whatever, and I wouldn't wake up until 9:30 or 10 o'clock, and I'd be like, oh, okay, let's flip around. We got the last few minutes of game day here. Oh, looks like we're going out to West Lafayette for Purdue and Illinois.
That's the exact game I was about to say.
It's cloudy. It's 52 degrees. It looks kind of miserable there, and the score is going to be 18-7 in the fourth quarter. And like, I kind of like that as a warm up. I don't know. It feels the stakes oftentimes don't feel like they are as maxed out as they could be just from a inside the stadium feel, because the game is at 11 o'clock. And fans across the country at big schools like Michigan, like Nebraska, whatever, can attest to this. It's just harder to do. You don't have the all day lead.
Yeah, you don't have the build up the entire day where you're getting amped up, and then obviously tailgating goes into that. Fans are getting nice and warm outside of the stadium, going to the stadium, and they're ready to go. Yeah, I mean, there's that buildup that's always nice to have, and you'd like to have that, but it's a big game regardless. It's if you put Nebraska versus, like, if Nebraska and Indiana, let's just say Nebraska would be good this year. Nebraska and Indiana, big noon kickoff, like that would still be a huge game. It would still be fun, but
I would rather it be at night.
It would be better if it was at night because you could do the whole buildup. And I know earlier I said, I don't mind big noon kickoff because Nebraska's not that good. If Nebraska was a really good team, I'd probably have a little bit different opinion on it because they play in that window a little bit more often.
To that point, Ohio State certainly has an opinion on it.
Yeah.
They hate it because they're in it all the
time.
They're
always there.
Are only in big noon. They would like a night game.
John writes in on the text line, if Nebraska is on big noon kickoff, it means they are going to get their ass kicked because they aren't the team that Fox chose the game for.
Well, they'll get big noon for the Ohio State game, that's for sure.
Yeah, you can watch a half a football game if Nebraska is on big noon kickoff.
When
the Nebraska Ohio State game, Nebraska almost won. Wasn't that big noon kickoff?
The 2020
2 years ago.
When was their last?
That was the
big
3-9
noon
season.
So there are potential big noons for this year. Obviously, there is the game against Indiana, not the game against Oregon.
Is that already scheduled?
It's on the road at Oregon, so they won't put it on big noon. At least that's been their policy before. And then Ohio State at home on November 21st. I guess those would be, and who knows what happens in the in between. So did they not have a big noon game last year?
Nebraska did not.
They had the CBS game on Saturday.
Yeah, they did not have big noon at all.
Michigan. They didn't have big noon last year. Huh.
The last one they had was the Indiana game in Bloomington.
Oh,
when Nebraska got blown out 56-7.
Actually, not true. They were in big noon a week later against Ohio State.
That's what I thought, where they almost beat them.
Yeah, they almost came back and beat them. So those two games are related in my head. Right. But that would have been Nebraska's last big noon kickoff game. Ohio State 2020.
I can hear it already. Gus against Indiana.
John Hull.
Back when we used to call games, this Nebraska team had some pride, and they're going to be down by 42 in the third quarter.
That was what it was last time. Yep. It was like, Indiana, they're for real.
Nebraska, they're not.
They're crushing them.
Yeah. God.
And then the next week when they played Ohio State, it was the John Hull show.
I was building a desk. I was building a desk that game because I didn't want to watch so badly. So I was building a new desk, and then I kept looking up, and it's like, this is a close game. And I kept looking up, and it's like, this is a close game.
Gus was so excited because they were on a long stretch of doing Nebraska games, and they were absolute disasters every time.
Yeah, they did the Colorado game. That was
the
horrid.
year before that.
Yeah, the year before.
And they had just been in so many, Gus had seen so many bad Nebraska games. So you could tell how excited he was to get a good Nebraska game.
Dylan runs for like 27 yards. And
he's like, well, watch out for this Raiola. He could go. He could scoot.
And he couldn't.
What's that one, Joey? Okay. Yeah, give me some Gus.
You know, Gus used to do soccer too.
They put Gus on whatever. This is the best one, obviously. Touchdown! Wow! Hit me with a little touchdown! Wow!
Touchdown! Wow! That was the moment. It's like, man, my dog is old. Like he's old.
Yeah, his voice is cracked. And then we have Captain Jack, which was a great one from the Ohio State Michigan game from 2 years ago. Bad times. Brian writes in on the YouTube. He says Nebraska football has struggled significantly in Fox's Big Noon Saturday showcase, holding an 0-7 record in such games as of late 2025. Just Googled it. So Google Al told him that Nebraska was 0-7.
They haven't won a game with Gus Johnson on the call.
Nebraska's 0-7 in a lot of different windows, though.
When have they last won a game with Gus Johnson on the call?
I don't think they've won a game with Gus Johnson on the call.
In football, in the Big Ten,
in the football.
That is because
they had the Colorado game. That
was
Paul
Burmeister.
Oh, that was
NBC prime.
Colt McCoy.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was a train wreck.
They've won some games with I think either Joe Davis or Jason Benetti with Brock Heward.
Was it the 2011? Was it 11 in 2011 or 12 Nebraska Indiana basketball game?
What about the Oregon game? When Oregon was ranked and they ended up being horrible.
That was ABC.
Was that ABC?
That was an ABC. That was Bob Wischusen.
That may have been before. That may have been before Big Noon Kickoff existed too.
Yeah, it was
because they started having Big Ten games on Fox, but it was primetime games.
That's right. Yeah.
2012, Nebraska had a game at UCLA. Gus Johnson was on the call with Charles Davis at that time. That was like the earliest iteration, and they also called the Big Ten championship game.
Gus never called Nebraska football win.
I think also the last time
it's been a long time.
Going back to the last time Nebraska won a game with people on the call. I think ESPN's Kirk Herbstreit. Nebraska is on a long streak of L's, and I think the last time they won with him on the call was in the Alamo Bowl against Michigan.
Him and Tirico.
Yeah, him and Tirico called that game.
So what would have been the last game that Herbstreit did? I mean,
I think it was the Ohio State game in Lincoln when Nebraska had game day.
19.
Ugh, yeah, that was fun. Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union.
That was fun. Being
all
there,
these famous broadcasters haven't seen Nebraska win in like a half a generation.
Nebraska fans.
Brad Nessler had an opportunity. Nebraska blew it against Michigan.
That's right. Nessler went out on an L.
I think the last time they won with Nessler was the Wisconsin game in
2012. Put announcers out to pasture with Nebraska games? Like that's the sign of their time.
Yeah, the only people that have a good vision of Nebraska are like all the BTN guys and then Paul Burmeister and Colt McCoy.
Yeah, of course. And I think that was the week when Noah Eagle and Todd Blackledge were down in Brazil for the Packers-Eagles.
They were
game.
doing a football. Yeah,
they were doing the Peacock game.
Who did the Miami 14 game? Wasn't
that was Joe Tess and Brock Heward.
That would have been fun for them.
Joe Tess.
That was an ESPN2 broadcast.
Joe Tess. Yep.
Joe Tess. I remember the SEC.
That's right, because I remember. And Nebraska fans, they love anytime this happens. Like halfway through the game, maybe it was Aaron Andrews was on the sideline or one of the sideline.
It was probably that era.
I think it was Aaron. She was like, "You can't hear anything down here. It's incredible." And then Joe said, "This is the loudest I've ever heard in a stadium." And that's the last time anything good happened in Nebraska.
And
2014.
They had the thing.
Welcome
in the
to your
section.
nightmare. That was
to your
awesome.
worst nightmare. Yeah,
that was a fun game.
That's my favorite Nebraska game I've ever been to.
Brian writes in, but we have so much talent. I don't know who's arguing that, but what a fun way to squeeze that in there. Here's Sam on Twitter at Happer Schaefer. But just think, this TV deal allows us to hear "Here Comes Saturday Night." despite being in the B or C game. I do like that was the other thing that I thought about doing for Power Rankings with Tiers, like TV themes. Could have gone anywhere. I'm glad that we have Fall Out Boy doing Here Comes Saturday Night.
Fall Out Boy,
AKA Big
Imagine Dragons, like
Yeah.
they're all the same when it comes to your hype song.
Yeah. Now, I don't think every entity needs a song, but
They all have one.
they do turn them out pretty well these days. They do a nice job.
What do you mean by well?
The Fall Out Boy Saturday Night song is well, who does Here Comes Saturday Night? Is that Fall Out Boy? Did I get that wrong? Because Fall Out Boy does another Saturday Night song too. I believe it's just called Saturday Night. Oh,
I'm
it's
sure
Saturday. Remember that one?
I know that one.
I think that's Fall Out Boy.
I mean, we can look it up.
I'd like to check this out. But yes, it is. It doesn't get me going like the
Saturday
CBS.
Night Fall Out Boy.
It doesn't get me going like the CBS music gets me going. That's I still remember the drone shot that they had last year over Memorial Stadium for the Nebraska game. And they had the like that's good. They don't need a theme song.
Nebraska's stadium at night is awesome for like setting a big moment. It's just then like they play, and it's not. But like
Pretty much.
night game.
Do you get fired up when Gus Johnson says, "I'm Gus Johnson alongside my quarterback Joel Klatt and the All-American girl Jenny Tabb"?
No, I do not. No, I very much don't, because I know
I really like that.
Yeah, it's fine, because then he's got to keep talking.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Nebraska's
But he's got that part down.
Nebraska's got a good like vibe stadium. Like it feels important, like night game, drone shot, and you hear whatever intro music, and it's and it's Nebraska versus unfortunately the insert Big 12 team of that era. Like those were fun games and felt important all the time. I don't know if there's been a game that I felt as important for Nebraska like on a national scale in a long time, because that's just what happens when you're not good.
It's crazy when you think about it that way. They really didn't play a big noon game last year. They haven't played one since the Ohio State game. Maybe they'll get a big noon game.
They'll give them a chance against Indiana, maybe.
It's early enough in the season where things had
and then they'll lose
not
by
gone sideways yet. Yeah,
40, and the broadcasts will learn their lesson yet again.
Maybe. Asian Joe says just use round ball rock for football too. That would be less fun.
Yeah, do love round ball rock though.
We can go right back to Fall Out Boy. Fall Out Boy's got it. Chris says, who could forget the 2015 season where ESPN played Fall Out Boy centuries every 5 minutes?
Oh, that's the one I was thinking of. Yeah.
So
I'm
Fall Out
sure
Boy must have a deal.
Dragons had something too,
Definitely.
which is the same thing as Fall Out Boy.
Fall Out Boy must be on like a retainer, like a Sandler Netflix deal. Like they're just like, hey, whenever we ask you to, we'll give you X amount of money a year, but whenever we ask you to, you have to pump out a new theme song.
You just make one song with like 35 seconds of a catchy tune that we can apply to college sports, and we'll give you $2 million a year.
Pretty good gig if you can get it, I suppose. Mitch Sherman is our next guest. He's coming up on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. More of Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. We're joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. Hi, Mitch. What's up?
What's going on? How are you guys?
Good. I need you to be the explainer of the arbitrator holding up the deals of the 18 Nebraska football players. Like, I don't know that there's one way to easily explain it, but maybe if we ask a specific question like this, how does it actually affect Nebraska, that we could start going in the right direction?
Well, it prolongs the case. That's the first thing. If the arbitrator had ruled yesterday in favor of the Nebraska players, then it would have been over. And really the job of the CSC, College Sports Commission, would have been over. There still would have been tasks on their plate and things that they would do moving forward. But if you lose that case, it's really a gloomy indicator of any kind of effectiveness that organization would have been able to have. So they live to see another day. And for Nebraska, this thing's going to drag on now through the summer. And, I'm sure from Troy Dannon on down through Matt Rule to the players and their families and their representatives who were involved here, they wanted this to be over now so they could stop dealing with it. They've been talking with players from Hush Blackwell since at least February and maybe going back further than that about this appeal of the ruling, the initial ruling by the CSC that that these contracts that they signed with Playfly were not viable. So you go toward June, maybe it'll be over at the end of May. There's a case in California that could end this thing. Maybe the Nebraska Attorney General will get involved. If there's a lawsuit on that end, it's a protracted event, most likely. Or maybe, Connor, and as we talked about last night on our Locked On Nebraska podcast, maybe Nebraska will go back to the drawing board and rewrite these deals so that the CSC can stamp them as approved.
So, is that the next step then? Because in my mind, when they say a resounding no, like this is obviously, you guys are obviously losing this case. You're not even close.
It's no. It's no.
Yeah. It's like, how do you go back and how do you recover from that? Because when you from an outsider, and again, I'm not fully involved and haven't been following the story super close, but it feels like it's kind of shut the door on that entirely, or the possibility of these being paid out.
Yeah, I don't know. They're going to be paid out one way or another, whether it gets done through strong arm tactics in the courts or Nebraska's able to rewrite them. It's too important to
they'll rewrite.
It's too important to the structure of the Nebraska football roster. You're not talking about 18 guys at the back of the depth chart here. Yeah. These are key players, and my understanding is primarily that they're players that Nebraska retained from last season. So most of your transfers coming in, it could be some transfers coming in this year, but it's a high profile list of players, and there's millions involved here with an S on the million. So there were a couple things that I noticed in the news yesterday. One, in the comments from Brian Seeley, the director of the College Sports Commission, and he was at the ACC meetings yesterday and spoke with some media members, including Matt Baker from The Athletic, and he wrote about it in a piece that Stuart Mandel and myself and Matt put together. Seeley said that there is the possibility to go back and restructure these deals. It was almost like he was inviting Nebraska, extending an olive branch and saying, you can still do this.
Mm-hmm.
This is, your day with us is not over.
Just do it different.
We wish you the best. Can you make these deals so that they fit under the umbrella that we approve? Wink, wink. And, that would take some concessions from Playfly. It would probably limit some of the profitability on the other end as Playfly moves to sell the rights of the players to advertisers and sponsors, and however that ends up playing out. They may not make as much money on the back end, and maybe that means that it's more difficult to write the contracts to the players. I don't know. Or Nebraska could choose to take the legal path, and that remains to be seen. That's a decision that is complicated and probably has to involve Nebraska's administration and the players and their representation.
The question that we've got the most this morning is probably not that it's probably a little complicated to answer. It's answerable, but it is. Why are places like Texas Tech and whatever allowed to funnel their money through their rich oil tycoons, and Nebraska's way of quote unquote cheating or circumventing the system or whatever is shut down in the courts? Like, why is this one in particular different? And the one that was, it was the one that was brought up because it was brought up by the Nebraska players. That's why it was brought up to the arbitrator.
It's like the industry at large chose to put the Nebraska case forward because it was a good test balloon for a couple of reasons. One, because there is this state law that says that players can't be penalized for accepting NIL money in the state of Nebraska, athletes in the state of Nebraska. So whether you're in Nebraska or any college, that applies, or high school, I suppose. And then the other part of that, Connor, is that other schools just aren't reporting it. There are schools out there, some that you mentioned and others, that are just saying, we live in the Wild West and come and catch us if you can. Let's see. Like, you haven't been able, NCAA, whatever other arms of government there are, have not been able to enforce this kind of stuff for several years now. The cat is out of the bag, so we're not even going to try to go through the proper channels. Nebraska tried to go through the proper channels, not to say that like they're lily white in all of this, and everything's perfect with what Nebraska did. Like, they were pushing the envelope for sure, but there are other schools that have been more sinister, I think, in their intentions, and haven't even attempted to follow the rules that were put forward by the CSC. And their day is coming. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know if it'll end up in court. I don't know if the structure of the College Sports Commission will get torn away before there's even a challenge to what some schools are doing. But this thing's far from over. And yesterday was a step in the.
Is this just kind of like a lesson learned moving forward with writing these contracts, or is there potential for like legitimate fallout from this?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you can't do it this way, then Nebraska has to find another way, and it remains to be seen if you can. Like, the judge in California could say, no. What you said, arbitrator, that's wrong. These companies like Playfly are not associated entities, and he could like overturn essentially the arbitrator's ruling. I don't know how likely that is. Maybe the judge in that district court was the one that mediated the House settlement, and they seem to be player friendly, athlete friendly. So we'll see. But one way or another, yeah, I mean, there's definitely the possibility that Nebraska is going to have to change the way that it pays over the revenue share cap money. Like, right now, you're already in a place where you're wondering about how you're going to do this. Like, your first attempt has been denied. So what does that look like a year from now or 2 years from now? There's definitely questions. They fully intend to be competitive and be in the fast lane of college sports and be over the cap. The cap is the 20 million, and the 21 million, 22 million. It's going to go up every year. And then all of the teams that want to contend for a national championship or be in the college football playoff are thinking over the cap. And this was Nebraska's separator. This was Nebraska's. This was the way that they were going to manage over the cap. Largely was through their MMR company, and there's a snag in that plan right now.
So they just have to find another way to manage because they're going to be over the cap in some way. It just how do you find it?
Yeah, I mean, they'll keep trying. You look for loopholes. You look for methods that you can get approved. You move money in different ways and and try to follow the rules that are I mean, the rules are murky. Like, in Nebraska's defense, like, Nebraska didn't know that this was gonna happen. They didn't know that they probably expected when these contracts were dreamed up that this day would not come where they would get denied, and maybe they would get denied, but that they would get that denial would be confirmed by an arbitrator. I don't think that a lot of people in Lincoln thought we would be here right now.
Mitch, I wanted to ask you about the next Friday night date with Illinois coming up again in 2026. Why What is it about this game that just magnetizes it to Friday night? I don't know if it's that or it's just how it's worked with the schedule, but it's now 3 times in a row.
Yeah, I think it's both of those things. I mean, I think Nebraska Illinois is kind of has a Friday night feel to it. It's not like it doesn't like rise to the level where you're like, oh yeah, that game's got to be on Big Noon or that game's got to be Saturday night NBC. It's a perfect Friday night kind of game. I mean, you have a program in Nebraska that's historically significant. And I mean, I don't need to lay out what Nebraska football is. And then Illinois, like high population area. I mean, Brett Bielema's he's a character in the sport. So it's got more appeal than like Nebraska Rutgers or Nebraska Purdue. It seems like just the right fit. Kind of like a lot of Nebraska Minnesota games in the same way have ended up being non-traditional kickoff times. This is the same thing, and here we are again. So what? This is the third straight. I think 4th overall. They've split the last 2 games. Each team has won on the other's home field on Friday night. Like it kind of feels right. I didn't think this would be the one that Fox would pick. I kind of thought it would be Michigan State because of Pat Fitzgerald and his Big Ten re-debut, but reinitiation into the league in a conference game at the end of September. But this is the one they chose, and it'll be good for Nebraska that weekend, at least as far as getting eyeballs on the Huskers because of the presence of Oregon at Ohio State on Saturday.
Mitch, you were much nicer with the way you described it because every time I view this Friday night game, I view it like Jacksonville and the Titans playing overseas. Yeah. The NFL just like shoves them that way because they know they can, and that's something that people will potentially watch. That's the way I view it. Maybe that's a flawed way of viewing it because in my mind, like if Nebraska was a better team over the last 5-10 years, like they're just not playing these Friday night games. I mean, that's my view on it. I could be completely wrong in that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a valid way to look at it. Although I don't think this is Big Fox. I don't think they look at this inventory as you're being shoved in the corner. I mean, if these games, and there have been some of them that are put on FS1 or FS2 or Big Ten Network, then I think that's more in line with the way that the networks might see it. I think they see this as an attractive game, and some of those Friday night games have gotten pretty good numbers that involve Nebraska and Nebraska, Illinois in particular. So, yeah, it's not like they're not doing this to Michigan. Yeah. And so there's some truth there. I think if Nebraska had been in the college football playoff for a few years running, you might see less of a Friday night situation. But you're still in an 18-team league, and Fox still has these spots, and they don't want this to be a Maryland. I don't know what team should I disparage here? Like they don't want this to be a Maryland Northwestern game. It's a middle ground, I think. So you're like, hey, you can be a little bit disrespected by it, or you can feel like, no, this is they value Nebraska as a brand. I think that's real. And Friday night's a good place for Nebraska on a weekend where there's a huge premier, like 2 teams that the 2 favorites. Now I'm disparaging Indiana, the defending national champion, but I think Ohio State and Oregon, or in maybe the other way around, it'd be Oregon, Ohio State will be picked 1-2 in the Big Ten this year.
Yeah, Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. All right, Mitch, we will let you go. As always, appreciate you taking the time. Have a great rest of your week.
Thank you very much. You do the same.
Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. We will take a quick time out. Speaking of local writers, have you seen our dear friend Stephen M. Sippel's column this morning? I haven't read it, and I don't know if I'm going to, but I am going to read you the tweet that comes along with it.
That's a sign of, I don't know if I'm going to read this, but here's what it says.
Here is just, I'll tell you what the tweet says when we come back after this on 1620 The Zone. Omaha is celebrating 106 years of the Cinco de Mayo Festival, May 15th to May 17th, located on historic South 24th Street. That's L to O, by the way. Join us in honoring vibrant Mexican culture that shapes Omaha and has for over a century. Of course, food, live entertainment, music at the Heartland of America Park at the riverfront. The Cinco de Mayo Parade, this Saturday, May 16th at 9:30, as folks from this building, Arsher Media Omaha, will be marching in the parade, as along with our sister station, Sweet 98.5. That is the Cinco de Mayo Festival all weekend. Here's a tweet from Stephen M. Sipple. Once again, I haven't read the story. Okay.
Yes.
Just want to make that very clear. I haven't read the story. Here's what it says. Rule deserves scrutiny entering year 4, but fairness matters. Nebraska is reportedly operating with a $29 million roster budget, while the Big Ten heavies push $50 million plus. Huskers should still contend for CFP buzz, but closing gap isn't as simple as one might think. Any thoughts? J-Man says, simple. I have some thoughts.
Yeah. Well, the first thought is the large gap between a program with seemingly ending money and the top programs in the country. Like, we know what it takes to win at football right now, and the most important thing is money. That is more important than anything else.
Probably.
It just is. Kurt Signetti does not win a national championship without a lot of money to help him win it. Now, he helped he closed the gap in money needed versus these top schools.
Kurt Signetti also got to the playoff with no money.
Yes, and now he's got all of the money in the world to do whatever he wants with. That's how you sustain programs. That is why Indiana will be good for a long time, because they have a coach and they have money. You can cheat your way, though, to a decent level if you spend a ton of money.
Here's
They're
what,
$20 million behind.
Here's what I always do. Like, I just am not. Some people clearly go around thinking about Ohio State every day.
Yes.
Why? They're not in the same stratosphere. Win games against teams who spend the same amount of money as you do.
Who would that be?
We'll talk.
Who would that be in this scenario?
The teams that they routinely lose to.
Well, that's
Iowa,
everyone.
Illinois. I mean, like
how much is
Minnesota
Wisconsin spending right now?
Wisconsin is a great example of this, even though they beat them most recently in the time that they played them. Like, those are the teams that are in your ballpark. And I don't know. I mean, we could do, if somebody, and maybe Sipple is in the story that I haven't read yet, but like just a list of what the reported expenditures are for each of these teams as far as their NIL, exclusively as far as their NIL is concerned. I would imagine Nebraska's in the same ballpark as those teams that I just mentioned. 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, something like that in the Big Ten. Yeah. Middle of the pack, middle of the road, potentially even lower. But that I can't walk around spending my daily life thinking about how much money and how unfair it is that Ohio State has a $50+ million roster and that Indiana has a $50+ million roster and that Penn State has a $40+ million roster, when I can't beat Iowa. I can't beat Minnesota.
But
it's
that's
just not my concern.
I don't think that's what this is about. I think this is about giving your team the best chance to beat Iowa and Minnesota. And right now, they're not doing it with the resources they have. If they have the ability to pump in another $10, $12 million to the roster before the success is there, you still do that, because then you're setting yourself up to beat those teams. I don't care if Nebraska needs a $50 million roster to go beat Iowa and Wisconsin and Minnesota. I don't care. If they win the games, I don't care how much it costs.
What I'm saying is, I don't think a $50 million roster would help them beat Iowa or Minnesota.
That's the problem. So what does that come down to?
I think they need to just be better at football.
Yes, and it helps to have the most talented people in the country on your team. Now, people are not going to choose Nebraska unless they're offering up that money. Like, if you have $5 million to offer, and I'm just saying 5 because it's round, a $5 million to offer a kid, and he's choosing between you and Ohio State, he's choosing Ohio State. Mm-hmm. If you have $7.5 million, and again, these are numbers, I'm exaggerating here, $7.5 million for the same kid, and Ohio State offers him $5 million. You got a good chance to get that kid. So right now, you don't have the program to just go out and get kids and go punch for punch with Ohio State or Michigan or Alabama.
That's true.
You generally don't. Like Ahmad Hudson's not coming to Nebraska for several reasons. If you matched LSU's offer, it doesn't.
You have to pay over market value.
That's just the reality of this situation. So now you have to decide: do we want to get to a point and figure out a way to spend the same amount as Iowa and Wisconsin, or do we need to spend more to beat them?
Yeah. And so that is, I mean, we can continue this discussion. There's a lot of arms and legs to it. That's for sure. But it's another opinion that is indeed out there today. And we love opinions, folks. We're back after this 9:00 hour coming up on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back. 9 o'clock here on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Michael Snow. Thank you, Snow, for filling in today and blessing us with your takes. You've had great takes so far.
Well,
about airports,
Stuff to get at a baseball game.
Baseball game, NIL now.
Rodeo stuff.
Yeah. I should say something to get clipped and blow up and get everybody angry.
Listen up, aggregators. Snow's got something to say.
Say something about the Nebraska fans.
I don't feel strongly enough about anything to get clipped, I don't think.
You don't think so?
I feel strongly enough to argue with people after somebody gets clipped.
Okay.
But I don't feel strongly enough. I'm sure I could.
Would you like to say anything about the previous clippage?
No.
All right.
Because it was a stupid thing to get clipped.
There you go.
So
Good.
that's my stance on that.
Mhm.
I don't know. I could try and think of something.
Careful, they
Maybe
get clipped.
maybe on the way out, I'll say something crazy.
Last thing. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, I got one more thing.
Here's
Go ahead.
Snow's last thought.
Kyle, get the TikTok
And
cam
it's-
out.
Yeah, and it's just the hottest take of all time. Fire Matt Rule today.
I don't know that
That's not
that would be met
that's
with a
also
lot of
not that-
criticism.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be.
Like
No.
it would be met with like a little bit of criticism, but not like a
Yeah.
super lot. of
Maybe
criticism.
keep Matt Rule
keep that rule forever.
forever.
The
yeah.
contract extension was the right move.
That was the right move.
and they need to actually add more years and add more money to the buyout.
Yes, all of the above. We cannot afford to lose him.
Whatever you do, do not clip.
Do not clip me.
Do not be out here clipping stuff. Anyway, you could read Sipple's column on huskeronline.com about money and things of that nature. I just can't, like, Nebraska get it. Like, I think Nebraska is not doing enough on the football field for how much money it spends. And so, therefore, I can't sit here and be like, actually, you know what? Nebraska needs to invest more money and they need $50 million rosters instead of having a $30 million roster, even though they're not doing enough with their $30 million roster.
So-
if you're gonna have a $50 million roster, they better be winning some freaking games, like a lot. And there's no guarantee that they're going to be doing that because I haven't seen them do it with 30 million or 20
It just
or 0.
to me, it's if it takes you 50 million to win 9 games a year, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't
I get where you're coming
it doesn't
from.
bug me if Iowa's doing it with 30, cool. Nebraska's doing it with 50, I don't care. Like if it's either fire your coach and restart,
Yeah,
or spend more money to get to 9 wins and then hopefully build on that.
I see where you're
It's
saying.
a lot easier to spend more
So-
money than to fire your coach and restart.
Okay, so tell me if I'm mischaracterizing you here. If Nebraska is winning 9 games, let's just say, yeah. I mean, once again, this is very, very static and kind of black and white here, but for the purpose of the discussion, Nebraska wins 9 games, but they're spending $50 million to win 9 games on a roster versus they're winning 9 games and they're spending $30 million to win 9 games. You don't care. It doesn't make a difference to
No.
you one way or the other.
If they're winning games, I don't care what
Yeah.
it costs. Like, yes, you would like a college football appearance, but
Because I think a lot of people would say if you had a $50 million roster, you should be competing for a national championship.
yeah, you probably should. If you have a $30 million roster, you should not be fighting for bowl eligibility. That's the situation we're in. So you have 2 paths forward. You either trust that Matt Rule is going to continue to build this thing and get it to where it should be with $30 million, or you give him every resource you can possibly scrounge up and give him a $40 million
Which,
roster.
for the record, I actually think they are. Right? Like,
I'm not saying there's $20 million lying around that they can just go get.
Right.
If that's the case, they should be spending it. I don't think you should be saving it for a rainy day.
I felt like for a long time now that Nebraska's maxed out in terms of its investment into the program for what they're getting back, right? The only way to get that money to go up, the only way to start finding the money in the couch cushions again miraculously is if you just win more.
Yeah, I mean,
Because then the
what
money will
makes
come.
people want to donate? Them going to the game and seeing you beat Indiana and seeing you beat
Right.
Ohio State. Like that, it's a lot easier to get somebody to open their checkbook when you're in the top 25 consistently.
I just don't think I don't know. I don't think money is an issue for them. I think they get the appropriate amount of support that they need as far as their roster is concerned, and certainly as far as the infrastructure at the university is concerned.
Yeah, they're not doing enough with what they have.
They're not doing enough with what they have
My
from a football perspective.
Yeah, my argument is if there's more to give, you just give it because that's the situation of you being a football school is you
Michael
give
Snow here
the
for
major-
spending other people's money.
Yeah, 100%. Now,
Absolutely.
if you can funnel that into basketball, it's a different conversation. You could give $40 million to
Okay,
basketball.
so that's a
and
great
have it.
conversation. So that didn't really happen the
No.
way everybody thought it was going to happen.
Mhm.
Which, I mean, so that's an interesting case study looking forward because I just said it. Hey, if you win, then the money will continue to come. Nebraska had to spend a lot of money from a basketball perspective this offseason after having the greatest season that they've ever had, going the furthest in the tournament that they've ever, like bar none, the greatest season that Nebraska basketball has ever had. And really, all they could muster from a support perspective, as far as outside over the cap NIL, was retention of their roster.
And now they had an expensive two people. We're talking about the
Absolutely.
same two,
which is not
keep.
insignificant. Like, yeah, it's like you said, it's not insignificant.
Like Price would have been one of the highest paid players in the country had he gone elsewhere. And in Braden, same thing. I don't know, not the highest, but in the top 10% of players making money who were to enter the transfer portal. That being said, football and basketball are different. Like, yeah, I like basketball more. I like the basketball program more. I think it's obviously in a better spot. But if the football team did the equivalent, and let's just say it's make the college football playoff, I don't think the same situation happens where you're saying retention is all you could do.
So this is where I think they're similar. And I don't know if that means that, but this is where I do think they're similar. I just don't think Nebraska is the place where, from an NIL perspective, we're talking about player acquisition, whether it's in the portal or as freshmen. I just don't think this is going to be a place where you just money whip people into getting your roster. I just don't think that there are other places where that is that. And because I just think that's the mindset of the state. Like, Dannon sort of touched on this when he was talking about the stadium, and I've talked about it a lot over the years. Like, Saban said it, I thought, best a year or two ago. He was like, this NIL thing, like, some people just don't believe in this. So some people just don't believe in this stuff. They believe in building a new stadium and putting their name on it and having, corporate sponsors that are attached to stuff like that, like hard physical evidence. They don't believe in donating X amount of $1 million and having that earmarked toward an 18-year-old football player who you don't know if they're going to be here in 2 years, and that's fair. I just think that's ingrained into the DNA of the state. And so I just don't think this is going to be a place where you're going to money with people at all, ever. And so if you win a national championship in football, or if you get to the playoff in football, I don't think it's going to become, oh, well, now we're just Ohio State and we're going to get every football player known to man. Like, I don't think it would be that way either. I think basketball is a really good case study for that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't like, who's the most important person in Ohio State football right now? Is it Ryan Day, or is it the top 5% of donors who donate to Ohio State?
Right.
Like, those, Ryan Day is only able to do what he's doing because of those top 5% of donors. Like, there's no Mark Cuban coming in for Indiana to Nebraska and saying, here's $10 million. Here's a one lump sum of $10 million. Like, Mark Cuban is an extremely important person to the University of Indiana's athletic success because he is essentially buying those players. Obviously, Cignetti is incredibly important too, but we're at a point in time where the most important people are the people giving your university money, compared to 25 years ago, where, yes, there was still this under the table money that nobody likes to talk about, but
people forget.
It was much different. And it was very easy to say Nick Saban's the most important person at Alabama. And obviously your head coach is incredibly important, but you've got to have the money being donated in. And it's been clear, and I saw somebody said this on YouTube, is we thought NIL was going to be great for Nebraska to compete with the big guys. That was the thought. And obviously,
well, because we hear things like, oh, well, they're really far ahead of the curve on this stuff. It doesn't mean anything. Like, no, Nebraska has the infrastructure that, like, I don't know. People always make a big deal about that, and I'm not ever sure what they're talking about.
Yeah, we've come to a point where, regardless of how much money Nebraska football is spending, you're not getting your money's worth, whether it be 10 million, 25 million, $75
And
million,
the prices just keep going up,
which is bad.
which is probably bad. Yes, it probably needs to stop at some point. Tonight, Nebraska and Creighton go for one final time, but maybe this season. I said this before, and it might sound like I'm hedging here. This is, while I'm excited that it is happening on May 12th, and we get a good weather night, and there will be fireworks afterwards, which I would assume would lead to a nice crowd. Hopefully, it's packed tonight at the Chuck Box. I don't know what the number might end up being, but I hope it's over like 10 or 15,000 or something like that. That'd be awesome to see. This is an objectively unimportant game.
Yes.
For both teams, and because of that, you're going to see a lot of different things tonight.
Well, it's important for Nebraska to not lose from an RPI standpoint. If you're still holding out hope for
killer.
hosting.
I mean, it's not like Creighton's like 200 plus in the RPI. I mean, it's a. I guess it would be if you're doing it by the quad
it's
system.
technically a road game. Too.
Yeah, it's a quad 2 or something, or 1, or I don't know how it works. Top 50 is on the road is quad 1. So yeah, I guess Creighton's in like the 90s in the RPI right
2.
now. I don't think it kills you. Like it didn't kill Kansas individually to lose to Creighton. It dropped them a couple spots. What really killed him is losing 3 to West Virginia this past weekend, right? So, Nebraska would like to win it, to sweep the series, to get their 40th win, or to have an opportunity.
Did Nebraska lose to Creighton at all this year?
In any sport?
Yeah.
Like
the
athletic
baseball, basketball, softball.
No.
Interesting.
They did not play each other in football.
They did not.
I
would assume Nebraska would.
One can only assume Nebraska would lose.
Yeah, if it's big noon, they would have lost.
Gus Johnson.
Interesting. So this is Creighton's last chance to win a game against Nebraska in the major sports Creighton plays.
I doubt that Creighton was able to take anything in tennis or golf. Creighton doesn't have any wrestling. There's probably like a couple track things that have happened, but there's not like, those are just like timed and measured and things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say no. I believe that is correct.
Most notably, basketball is the one they lost.
So maybe that is important for Creighton tonight. They could end the year of misery.
Yeah, little brother can punch up every once in a while
against the Big Red
and get the Big Red.
Get the Big Red. So I don't know. It's unimportant for both sides. Why? Because both teams play on the road, conference important series, not starting Friday, starting Thursday of this week. So they both will have traveled tomorrow. For Creighton, it's a trip to Cincinnati where they will be stationed for a significant period of time. They will be staying out there.
Okay, so they're not traveling back.
They are not.
That's like a 2-week stay.
Yes, it is a long time. And if they go all the way to the Big East final, which would be not this coming Saturday, but next Saturday.
Are finals weeks done for Creighton?
Yes.
Okay, so that makes sense for them to stay. They don't need to worry about traveling back.
I think it was last week. Maybe it's this week, but whatever it is. Yeah, they're not coming back. Nebraska will have a bus trip to Minneapolis and take on Minnesota.
I hate that drive
this weekend. Yeah, because then you have to do the worst 2 hours of the drive in America, which is west of Des Moines to Omaha.
Yep, that's horrible.
One of the worst things that you could possibly do. John writes in, Creighton would beat Nebraska in a football game. I think it's fair to assume that we could just say that, and therefore the streak of not winning a game this year is not real.
It's now over.
It's
Creighton beat them in the one sport Nebraska cares about, which is football.
Texter from the 402 writes in, baseball. This person had previously texted in, shout out to you guys for getting me into Creighton baseball. Maybe you'll be into Creighton baseball some more tonight. We'll have a couple of special guests on the broadcast on 1620 The Zone.
Exciting stuff.
It could be fun. Maybe at some point during the early to middle innings, we will talk about basketball.
Interesting.
With a certain somebody.
Why would you do that?
Who is tall and replacing another tall person.
Interesting.
Maybe.
Why would I'm not following here?
I know it's hard to understand. I talk in code a little bit sometimes.
A tall guy replacing a tall guy involved with Creighton basketball.
So we are going to have, my guess is 14 pitchers tonight. Maybe more.
That's too many.
Maybe more. Maybe 15 is the right number.
Especially with this, again, not being all that important of a game.
Yeah.
If you get, what's the longest a pitcher will pitch today?
I'm going to say 5 outs.
You don't think somebody goes 2 innings?
No.
This is going to be a 7-hour game.
1 2/3 innings is the longest anyone will throw tonight. That would include Nebraska starter Cooper Katsky and Creighton starter Ian Kuzman. All right. We'll be back with Jacob Padilla after this on 1620 The Zone.
Go, Pack, go. Go, Pack, go. Go, Pack, go.
Jacob Padilla, Herd at Sports, your source for Creighton hoops and Packers banter. Jacob Padilla on Happer and Schaefer, 1620, The Zone.
All right, we're joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend Jacob Adele from Herd at Sports. Jacob, it's been a while. Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's good to talk to you, Connor.
Good to talk to you as well. So where are you today? Like, there's so many things to cover today. What beat are you on?
I am not
Chilling?
on an active beat currently.
Good.
We've got our whole team out. They're kind of giving me opportunity to
Chill.
recover a little bit from the past week, which past 10 days, I guess. It was a little rough for me. So feeling a little bit better now. And I'm right now I'm just focused on my basketball team. We got practice today, and then we're heading down to Tulsa for the live period later this week.
You could cover the election if you want to. They could put you on election coverage. Would you be interested in that?
I'd rather cover baseball.
Well, I mean, you got an opportunity. You know, I'm sure the crew will be out there for Roll Jays Go Baseball versus Nebraska tonight. NBA playoffs continue to roll on. So we have 2 bad series and 2 good series at the moment. T-Wolves and Spurs feels, I don't know if it feels like NBA Finals-y, but kind of close. Certainly the West Finals will feel that way. Is that the proper way to approach things in the NBA right now?
I'll just say that I think the Lakers getting swept is a good series.
Yeah, I love that series.
So,
yep.
So that's a good one too. Yeah, I mean, I kind of been on the Spurs and Thunder collision course, probably for the title. I will say I've been really impressed with New York. Obviously, at some point they're not going to be playing these teams anymore,
right?
So we'll see if they can kind of keep that up. And obviously, they're going to need OG Anunoby healthy in order to give themselves a chance to get out of the East and then win the whole thing. But yeah, the Minnesota thing, that's pretty impressive. Obviously, the Wemby ejection played a part in them being able to tie the series up for them not being at full strength, and Edwards not necessarily having his full explosiveness, and for them to be hanging in there is really impressive because San Antonio, they've continued to get better and figure things out. And obviously, when you've got a 7'5" dude that changes everything on both ends of the floor, it's quite an advantage. That's something nobody else has. So I still
some
think
say it should be illegal.
Probably, yeah, well, certainly it's illegal to elbow people at 7'5".
Yeah,
because that's that lands in a dangerous place.
That's right.
But yeah, so I think it's still probably those two. Whichever one of those two comes out of the West is probably the favorite. But Minnesota is certainly making that a competition. New York is playing at a high level as well.
We have not talked since Creighton got a commitment or a flip from Trevon Carter-Givens, who was committed to NC State. It appears as if that fills out Creighton's basketball roster, 6'11" big man who potentially could earn some backup minutes or something like that this year. How do you view him in picture with the rest of what they did as far as the front court is concerned this year for Creighton?
Yeah, can't help but notice their center recruiting plans seem to be, let's get the exact opposite of the last guy that we got. All 3 guys are really raw offensively. They're not guys that you're going to be running the offense through in the post. But all 3, their best trait, talking about Osman Arumse and Wesley Rosso, and plus Trevon Carter-Givens, shot blocking is their best skill, all 3 of them. So each of them are different physically. It's Osman's kind of the medium size, about 6'10", 235. Rosa's 7'2", bigger body, and then
Carter Givens is 6'11" or so, but he's super skinny, 6'10" or so. Like he's definitely going to need some quality time with Jeremy Anderson to hold up in the Big East throughout his career. But you can't. I think the shot blocking ability he brings, and especially this late in the process to get a player as well regarded as he is, obviously that helps with the Will Wade situation, NC State dragging that situation out the way that he did, even though he was gone months before. That Creighton was able to kind of pounce on that and take advantage and land a quality piece here to fill their 13th roster spot. I would imagine they're still considering how to round out the roster just from a practice body standpoint, if nothing else, trying to find good fits to get probably closer, if not all the way to that 15. But in terms of guys that are brought in to potentially be rotation players, you're probably right that this is where they're at. It'll be fascinating to see kind of, we know Oswin's going to play however minutes he's able to play. He'll be the starting five, and obviously is in the low 20s for Providence most games. We'll see if Creighton's able to kind of get some more out of him and keep him on the court from a fouling standpoint. But I'll be fascinated to see kind of what it looks behind him. You've got these two both raw in different ways, both probably a ways off from where they need to be to play heavy minutes in the conference. But they do bring something valuable, and you're going to see those guys compete. And then you still got the Jason Green kind of small ball five look, depending on situations where I think that's still a place we could see him play this season, just because he is so valuable to the team. Get him minutes out there, just do it strategically when the matchups are right versus having to live that way with 35 minutes a game. So still got some options there to play different looks, but they certainly leaned into the all we want out of our five is a guy that can protect the rim. We'll everything else we'll figure out. We just, after having zero rim protection a year ago, they put a premium on that, and I think that goes along with kind of Huss's statement that he's planning to be a little bit more disruptive this year. And I've actually got a piece probably going up later today, just kind of looking at the overall portal haul and all the additions and kind of how the rosters come together, and how that's kind of lined up with what Huss said at his opening press conference, and just kind of trying to give a piece or a look into how this team might be able to play this season.
Yeah, looking at this roster now that it's nearly or pretty much fully complete, how would you look at this offseason? I mean, obviously there's the transition in coaching. It's a little bit different because you have the coach and waiting aspect to it. But I mean, Greg was an institution in Omaha and Creighton and college basketball as a whole. So it's never easy to take things over from that. But from a roster standpoint, how do you think this offseason went for Huss and the staff? And were there any misses that you saw, or are they pretty pleased with where they're standing right now?
Yeah, I think it's certainly an interesting result. I'll get a little bit more into that in the piece. You can check out on Blue Breakdown on heratsports.com.
Nice.
Later today, but I got to get that plug in there. I have not been able to write much over the past 2 weeks, so feel like I should probably get something up. I think what they've accomplished kind of falls in line with kind of what Huss laid out, and the ability to play the way that he wants to. I think the pieces make sense, and I was a little uncertain about the point guard spot and how BJ Davis fit into this roster and what they needed. I've got talking, kind of doing a little bit more digging. I can kind of see how it makes a little bit more sense than it did at first blush for me. One, I think Creighton believes that BJ Davis in a different system will be able to play that point guard spot a little bit more. He's good in ball screens, and he can get a paint touch whatever he wants. It was just that San Diego State system kind of probably deflated some assist opportunities because they spread around the playmaking and the ball handling so much. He had 5 guys average between 2.2 and 3 assists. So it was kind of a weird situation there. And I don't think they're expecting him to average like 6 assists a game, but I think those numbers will probably rise within their system. And he doesn't necessarily have to be the guy that's dishing out to everybody. He just needs to be the guy that starts the chain reaction, that gets into the paint, that collapses the defense, that kicks it out, and then maybe gets the hockey assist where that guy swings to the next guy for a wide open three. Or again, in ball screens, can lob it up to Urunse or whatever. So that's part of it. And then Control Harmon, I think they're expecting him to play right away, and they're really high on his playmaking. So that kind of addresses that concern a little bit in terms of, okay, maybe they can get enough playmaking out of this roster and the bets that they've taken. The question is, I mean, let it fly. They added some 3-point shooters. They kept some of their best 3-point shooters. So they're still loaded up on perimeter shooting. The question, you added that rim protection that needed badly. You've got guys that can defend a little bit on the perimeter and can get after and hold their own better than a year ago, potentially. So the question now is somewhat similar to last year, although those guys were more highly regarded that they brought in, is where's the star power? Is the talent level high enough on this team to make some noise? I think that the roster makes sense, fits together a little bit better than a year ago. You don't have as much overlap and weaknesses. You do have, I think, again, you can see how this team can potentially play. It's just a matter of, will it be good enough to do anything meaningful? And that's the question. I wonder how much of this is just a bet on Jackson McAndrew coming off, obviously, the injury and what he can reach. And you look at, Evan Miyakawa was kind of put out his projection for Creighton a couple weeks ago or so, and it was like, dude played 4 games last year and wasn't good in the 4 games because he was playing on a bad foot. So it's hard statistically to project, but he was like way down in terms of impact projection on the team. So like, if that's the case, then they're probably in trouble. If he can get back to what they thought he was going to potentially be this past season, and can really be a dude, then maybe that's enough. You've got enough role players around him. You've got guys that can make sense. If somebody can emerge as kind of that go-to guy. So that's probably the biggest question now. I still am a little kind of in wait and see mode on the playmaking and the point guard and kind of how that all looks together, especially considering they added guys that needs someone to set them up. Like none of the setters are, again, like I said, guys that you're going to dump it into the post and play through that way. Wes Ennis is at his best off the ball and spot up situations, more so than trying to create his own, or necessarily even running off a ton of screens and stuff like that. So you need somebody to draw the defense and get him open if that's how he's best. So we'll see kind of how it comes together, but definitely I don't know. I think they took some bets, that kind of took some gambles in terms of how these things will work out. But I think they're also confident in the guys that they brought in here and their ability to coach them up.
All right, Jacob. Well, glad you're back in the swing of things. Appreciate you joining us this morning. Good to talk to you, and have a good rest of your week. Enjoy your trip this weekend.
All right. Thanks, guys.
It is Jacob Padilla from Herd at Sports. Be on the lookout for that Creighton basketball piece coming soon. Said I better go write something. Maybe it's about the schedule as well. So there is quite the non-con schedule for the Blue Jays this year. Gonzaga, we know, is coming back in the return of the home and home. Nebraska is coming back in the return of the home and home. They're going to K-State, and Creighton is in the return game of that series, which K-State played here last year. You have the Super Mega NIL tournament, which you are now going to be in for every year until eternity. And then the addition of the Iowa game in Des Moines, which
That's on a Sunday.
is that right? Sunday.
Yeah, it's going to be on a Sunday.
November something.
I think the 17th. No, I think it's the 17th.
November 15th,
15th.
at the Casey's Center, the artist formerly known as Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines.
I've been there once.
You ever been to Des Moines?
I've been to Des Moines a lot. I've been to Wells Fargo Arena once.
Now it's called the Casey's Center.
I've been to the Casey Center once.
I bet they got a lot of good pizza, Casey's Pizza in there.
Overrated. Overrated.
There's your take. Clip that.
There's the clip.
Aggregators.
Yeah.
All right, back after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, once again, join us tonight on 1620 The Zone for baseball. Creighton in Nebraska for the final time. John and I will be with you. And join us for the rest of the day. Starting right now, Matt and then on Sportsline Conduct will have 8 straight hours of pregame for the baseball game tonight. They've all agreed to just talk about baseball for the entire rest of the day.
Do you think you could talk about Creighton baseball for 8 straight hours?
One baseball game or
a singular
or the whole team?
You're previewing the game, which means you're previewing the teams.
No, I don't think.
I think I could get.
I mean, I say this as a person who's seen almost every
all
Creighton
of their-
baseball game and has nowhere to spit out this information. There, like I do have a few segments in me, but I don't know about 8 hours.
Yeah, that's tough. I think I could get.
I don't know if I have 8 hours of anything though.
Yeah, Nebraska football.
If I was asked to do 8 hours in a row, I don't know where we would go. What we would do.
I mean, you do 4 hours of Nebraska football every day, essentially, once it's football season.
That is true. That is definitely true.
And then people get mad at you if you don't for 20 minutes.
Did you even see the game yesterday? All right.
What do you think of?
So last time you were here, Snow, we did bracket sims in basketball. We also have bracket sims in baseball now.
And
that is
let
the thing.
Let it be known, the last bracket sim of the bracket sims
turned out to be true.
Turned out to be almost because I think it had Nebraska beating Iowa.
Oh, I thought it had Nebraska losing to Iowa, and that was the funny part.
Maybe it did. I know it had Iowa and Nebraska, and we both thought, well, this would be cool, but it would never happen.
I saved the screenshot, and I think I recently deleted it. But yeah, it was definitely the Nebraska Iowa Sweet 16 game.
So this will be, if history is any indication, this will be almost exactly
Could
correct.
this be the bracket sim of record? Nebraska hosting the Lincoln Regional against Oklahoma, Mercer, and San Diego State. Oh no!
Wow!
No one ever loses to San Diego State in NCAA tournament environments. Creighton not in the bracket. UConn is the representative from the Big East Conference, according to this. Let's hit simulate. Nebraska loses to Oklahoma.
That's sad.
Oh no! They lose to somebody.
There was no buildup.
Yeah.
Who makes it out of Nebraska's region?
Oklahoma.
Mine has Mercer getting out of the regional.
0 for 2. Yikes. So this
That'd
creates
be a fun hat to buy. Do you? When I was younger, I would always buy like the Stony Brook hat.
Absolutely.
Or like
I'd
the
buy
Long
the hell
Beach
out of
State.
a Mercer hat.
I would buy a Mercer hat. Yeah,
for sure. They'd have to ship more of them in from Mercer.
Where is Mercer?
Tennessee?
I think
I'm asking because I don't know.
Where is Mercer University? Macon, Georgia. That was
Close enough. Yeah.
Close enough.
One state off. This would be the Connor World Series. That would not include Nebraska, of course. UCLA, Mississippi State, North Carolina, Oregon, Georgia Tech, Oregon State, USC, and Texas. It's kind of fun.
It'd be fun. Yeah.
Binghamton makes a super regional in this simulation.
Wow.
It's kind of fun as well. There you go. That's the College World Series. Now we have the projected bracket. The projected bracket has Nebraska hosting a regional. They have UConn as the 4 seed in their regional. Welcome to the Big East, Nebraska. So let's simulate that in the projected bracket. I think our internet is being slow today. Ole Miss gets out of the Nebraska regional. It's Nebraska, Ole Miss, Pitt, and UConn.
Can you just sheer disappointment
hosting a regional and then getting beat in that regional?
Yeah. Well, Nebraska's been so close in regionals in the years past. Like I think back to like the Oklahoma State one where the guy hit a home run 1 million feet and broke their lights.
I was there.
Yeah. There's a couple heartbreakers.
Oh,
they were just never at home, so it makes it easier.
So yeah, it's almost like the question is, do you want to host a regional or,
yes,
or do you want to win a regional?
Oh, well, if it's a choice between the two, I want to win one.
Okay.
Well, what kind of question is that?
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like people just want to host a regional.
If you could lose really badly or win and be awesome, which would you rather do?
I'd win and be awesome. Sometimes I feel like people just want to host a regional, though.
No, that's stupid. If you answer that way, you are dumb.
What do you want to do? You want to win a regional or do you want to host a regional?
Both.
I would hope
choose both.
That your answer is to win a regional.
Yes.
In this simulated bracket. Hey, look, Boston College with their RPI massaging makes it to the College World Series.
Boston College, I don't believe it.
I can't believe it.
Who would win the Jello shot challenge of this tournament?
That is a great question. Boston College, Tennessee, Florida State, USC, Georgia Tech, Georgia, Texas A&M, and Texas.
Maybe Texas or Tennessee.
Tennessee, probably.
Yep.
Not USC. Not Boston College. Not Georgia Tech or yeah.
That'd be tough roll.
Without LSU's not going to be here. Without LSU, it really puts.
They better hope Nebraska makes it.
Yeah, it puts the whole Jello shot thing in danger.
Well, when they're $5, it's tough. That's a tough price to pay for Jello shots.
All right. Any more takes that you wanted to get aggregated before we get out of here?
Oh, I should have thought harder.
I love that pizza take.
Although it doesn't take a lot to get aggregated, clearly.
That's true.
So maybe I didn't have to think harder.
You could say anything.
You could say, well, not anything.
You have any predictions? You won't be back probably for a while.
I think Nebraska doesn't host a regional. I don't think.
Do they
will.
win a regional?
I think they will not win the regional either.
So they don't host and don't win.
Yeah, I think it'll be a heartbreak. I think what's going to happen is the offense is going to go cold and their pitching isn't all that great, and that'll be the story of the regional, and it'll be sad. But I hope I'm wrong.
Sad. Any predictions about Creighton baseball?
They're bad.
Disagree.
They're terrible.
Thank you. They're not going to make any sort of NCAA tournament.
Sort of NCAA tournament? What do you mean? There's only one.
They don't have a crown for basketball.
Someone has to win that conference.
Somebody has to win that conference.
And it's not going to be Creighton.
It
Creighton will not
very
beat
well.
Nebraska in literally anything this entire year, and the year of misery will continue.
Perfect. If Creighton wins tonight, there's your aggregated clip.
Yeah, you can aggregate that. You've gone 1 in 13 or whatever it is.
I most certainly.
You can aggregate it yourself.
I will screenshot and record this completely.
Perfect.
All right. Thanks, Snow, for being here. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Always happy.
We'll see you soon.
Yep.
That is Michael Snow, and that is the show today. If you miss anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. Crossover with Matt is coming over next.